Chapter 4220. Lin Fei could tell that Yang Liushi had really made a mistake this time. Naturally, he didn't say anything else. Instead, he smiled and comforted Yang Liushi. Only then did Yang Liushi's mood recover quite a bit. After all, Hunter's incident had scared her quite a bit. If she hadn't met Lin Fei, it would probably have taken her a long time to get out of this nightmare. Yang Liushi indeed knew that she was wrong. If it wasn't for Lin Fei's timely arrival, she didn't know what would have happened to her. At the very least, it would have been a terrifying nightmare. When Yang Liushi came to England, she naturally heard about vampires. It seemed that there wasn't much difference between vampires and vampires. They were both special existences that fed on fresh blood. Yang Liushi had always thought that it was a joke, but who would have thought that it was true? There are actually vampires in England, and she just happened to meet one. This time, Yang Liushi was already deeply frightened. In the future, she wouldn't dare to easily trust anyone. Stand here and don't move. I'll go out and take care of the people outside first. After giving Yang Liushi a few instructions, Lin Fei walked out the door. Mr. Lin, you must be careful. Yang Liushi didn't forget to say. After Lin Fei walked out the door, the first thing he did was to kill all the bodyguards in black in the castle. Lin Fei couldn't guarantee that these people were good people. At the very least, they knew what Alan was like. Naturally, he did this a lot. Therefore, in for a penny, in for a pound, in for a pound, in for a pound. After making sure that no one was left alive, he returned to the main hall. He brought Yang Liushi out of the castle. He brought her all the way to the hotel he was staying at. Only then did Yang Liushi truly let out a sigh of relief. She was smart enough not to ask what they did during this period. She was very interested in Bai Xingnan's cousin's friend. She had never heard that Bai Xingnan's cousin had such a friend. It seemed that they were beyond the boundary of friends. Maybe they were even a boyfriend. You don't need to go back to school tonight. You can stay here for the night. Lin Fei booked a room for Yang Liushi. Thank you, Mr. Lin. I hope you won't tell my cousin about what happened today. I'm afraid she'll be angry if she finds out. It'll be bad if she notifies our family, Yang Liushi said to Lin Fei with a pitiful expression. Miss Yang, as long as you remember what you said today, it'll be fine. Otherwise, I'll definitely tell your cousin. I think your cousin will definitely nag you. Yang Liushi hurriedly nodded. I won't make such a mistake again. I know my luck won't be as good as it is now. Yang Liushi said, I won't do such a thing. I know I won. Yang Liushi hurriedly nodded. I won. I will. This was not a difficult task for Lin Fei. It could be said to be very simple. He did not want Yang Liushi to remember what had happened today. Everything related to Hunter's blood clan had been erased, and there would be no more memories left. That was all Lin Fei could do for Yang Liushi. Of course, it was for Bai Xingnan's sake. If it was someone else, it would be impossible. For a period of time in the future, unless something unexpected happened, Yang Liushi wouldn't even think about what happened tonight. After doing this, Lin Fei didn't stay idle. He left the hotel. He had another thing to do, which was to go to Alan's castle. Now that he had cultivated the endless sea of energy, Lin Fei's strength had greatly changed. Naturally, he could use some spells. He couldn't do it before, but he could do it now. He arrived at the castle again. The situation here hadn't changed much. The trap that Lin Fei left behind after he left wasn't destroyed, which meant that no one had been here. He walked into the castle again. Lin Fei went straight to Alan's study. In the study, he found a secret door leading to the underground. The entrance was extremely obscure, but under Lin Fei's spiritual sense, it couldn't hide. Lin Fei found it easily. Under the study, there was a huge secret room. This secret room was made of steel. Even if there was a martial arts expert, it would be difficult to break in. There were a lot of things in the secret room. In the eyes of some people, it would definitely be an eye-opener. However, in the eyes of Lin Fei, These things only had some value. Clatter, 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 clatter. These things were taken away by Lin Fei. In a short time, the secret room became empty. Lin Fei killed Alan. He wouldn't leave these things for others. Even if they were useless, he had to keep them for himself. Otherwise, it would be a waste of time. This should be the task that Alan mentioned. Lin Fei frowned. In a place on the wooden shelf, he found a special thing. This was a crystal sphere. However, inside the sphere there was a mass of blood. It should be called a blood sphere. Each of them was the size of a thumb, and inside this blood sphere there seemed to be a visible figure. This was also Lin Fei. If it was someone else, they wouldn't be able to see the figure. It seems that in the dark church, some people are practicing some evil means. Lin Fei's complexion became gloomy. It's fine if I didn't know about this matter, but now that I've come across it, I naturally have to find them to settle accounts. Lin Fei patted the blood sphere with his palm, and a raging flame aura enveloped the blood sphere, instantly evaporating the blood sphere. The gloomy aura in the secret room also dissipated a lot. After dealing with these things, Lin Fei left the castle. Lin Fei remembered the dark church and planned to take advantage of this time to have some fun with the dark church. Lin Fei's figure walked through the cities of England. If the address is not wrong, it should be here. Lin Fei stood inside, and in the distance there was a huge castle. This castle was more than half the size of Alan's. A castle like this would at least sell for 700 or 800 million pounds. Not everyone could live in it. If he hadn't gotten the information from Alan, he wouldn't have known that the master of this castle was a vampire, moreover, a powerhouse among the vampires. Lin Fei turned into a stream of light and rushed inside. The inside of the castle was very big. Lin Fei easily locked onto an aura, the strongest aura in the castle. When he was about to get close to you, Lin Fei felt a few auras. Although they were a bit weaker, they were also very powerful. It seems that I came at the right time. Bookseller's website. Chapter 42:21. P.S. I've been out recently, so I can only continuously update. I'll go back in a few days to update again. This castle was very big, and it was built with black rocks. It was filled with a sense of majesty. At this moment, the lights in the castle's hall flickered, giving off a sinister aura. There were 8 men standing in the hall. Every one of them was dressed in black formal attire and exuded a unique aura. The reason why I gathered everyone here today is very simple. The church has a new mission. I believe that you will definitely complete it. The one who spoke was a tall, white man wearing a black formal attire. His gaze was extremely cold, and he even had the aura of a superior. His gaze swept across the 8 people. Suddenly, his gaze stopped at an empty seat. Who knows why Alan didn't come? It turned out that there was still an empty seat behind the 8 people. It was very eye-catching, and it was hard not to notice it. Viscount Mike. Alan must have been delayed on the way, one of the white men said. I don't care why Alan didn't come. I have to see him immediately. A small bloodling, not even a baron. What right does he have to be late? Facing this Viscount Mike, everyone secretly lowered their heads, not daring to say a word. In the bloodling, the higher the title, the stronger they were. They weren't even barons yet, and Viscount Mike was only 1 step away from being an earl. Even in the bloodling, that was high and mighty. Hurry up and contact Alan. I want to see him within half an hour at the latest, or else he doesn't need to come anymore. Viscount Mike snorted coldly. His gaze was cold, and a wave of pressure swept across the 8 of them. Facing this pressure, the 8 of them shivered. Bang! A loud sound. There's no need to look because Alan won't come anymore. A figure walked in. Who is it? The white man closest to him had a cold gaze. He pounced forward, extending his sharp claws and digging at the person's heart. The few of them had cold expressions. This was Viscount Mike's castle, and someone actually dared to barge in. He was simply courting death. Of course, I'm here to watch a show. The newcomer smiled and opened his mouth. A sword light pierced through the Caucasian man, and he fell to the ground with a thud. The expressions of the 7 people present instantly changed, and their pupils constricted. Those were blood breeds who had the same strength as them, but they couldn't even block a single move from the newcomer and were killed. This person's strength was definitely stronger than theirs. Just who was it that had come? It was only when the other party revealed his true appearance that they were shocked once more. "You are Chinese. You Chinese are really bold. Don't you know that killing blood breeds in the Western world is equivalent to breaking the rules?" One of the Caucasians said, his eyes filled with fear. After all, they had clearly seen the sword move just now, and he had killed them just like that. Even Viscount Mike's expression turned serious. It was Lin Fei. This was the information obtained from Alan's memory. Viscount Mike was the most powerful existence in the vicinity, and all the missions came from here. It was the same for Alan. If he didn't listen to Viscount Mike, he would be in big trouble. Rules and whatnot. That's what I say, not what you say. With a swoosh, a ray of light directly pierced through the Caucasian man's forehead, and another blood breed expert fell. The remaining 5 people all shrunk their necks and subconsciously took a few steps back. They were scared out of their wits. It had been a long time since they had encountered such an expert. "Did you kill Alan?" Viscount Mike stared at the newcomer and said, "Lin Fei didn't look at these lowly blood breeds," and his gaze landed on Viscount Mike. "If I'm not wrong, you should be that Viscount Mike, and Alan should be your subordinate. No, he should be a small blood breed under your control. I don't know if I'm right." Viscount Mike's gaze turned cold. "You really killed Alan. Then you will pay with your life." Viscount Mike directly turned into a blood-colored stream of light and pounced over. His speed was extremely fast, and one couldn't even see a trace of him. Only a ray of light could be seen. "With this speed, you actually dare to kill me? Who gave you the courage?" Lin Fei reached out and grabbed. His fingers were like a mountain as he grabbed onto the stream of light. It smashed into the ground, and with a loud thud, the ground cracked. A figure smashed into the ground. If it wasn't Viscount Mike, who else could it be? Viscount Mike was in a sorry state, and it was as if he had been beaten up. "You, a Chinese, actually injured me." Viscount Mike charged out from the ground. His eyes narrowed, and he was extremely furious. He took out his dagger and stabbed forward once more. "I will definitely suck your blood dry." Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Streaks of light exploded in front of Lin Fei. Viscount Mike was too fast. He used his strongest move. A sword light appeared. In an instant, it broke through Viscount Mike's attack, and the white light disappeared. The sword light flickered and slashed onto Viscount Mike's body. With a loud thud, Viscount Mike fell back into the deep pit. Compared to the last time, his injuries were even more serious. The sword light appeared in front of Viscount Mike's forehead, and a cold aura instantly enveloped him. Viscount Mike, who wanted to struggle, didn't dare to move when he saw this sword. An aura of death enveloped him. "Wait, don't attack. Let's talk." Viscount Mike's expression instantly changed. Just now, Viscount Mike had used his full strength. He rarely used this pair of daggers. Once he used it, his strength would instantly increase by 10% or 20%. However, he still couldn't suppress Viscount Mike and was instead broken by a single sword. He knew that he had met a mysterious Eastern expert. The 5 blood race experts were so frightened that they didn't dare to move. That was Viscount Mike, and he was defeated in 2 or 3 moves. Even his life and death were in the hands of Viscount Mike, let alone them. They didn't even dare to think about escaping. That sword light was very powerful. They were afraid that they would be killed before they could even leave the hall. They didn't dare to take the risk and would rather stand there obediently. "You are a Viscount, an expert of the blood race. You also have times when you lower your head. You really disappoint me." The sword light changed directions and slapped towards the left side of Viscount Mike's face. Viscount Mike smashed into the ground. Viscount Mike wanted to cry. How could he resist to the end against such an opponent? Was he killed by a single sword? Mysterious Chinese expert, please spare me. I am willing to give you everything I have. Please spare my life. Bookseller's website. Chapter 42:22. Under the night sky, two figures arrived in front of a huge castle. It was a blonde girl and a white-haired, middle-aged man. Both of them exuded a holy aura. Miss Irina, according to the information we received, Viscount Mike is living here. He definitely didn't expect us to kill our way to their castle today. The white-haired, middle-aged man sneered. Tonight, we will definitely kill them all. The golden-haired girl, named Irina's, eyes also became incomparably sacred. I smell a filthy and rotten smell. It's indeed those filthy vampires. I've also heard a lot about Viscount Mike. Tonight I'll meet him. After capturing him, I might be able to get more information about the whereabouts of the vampires and capture them all in one fell swoop. The white-haired, middle-aged man said, With Miss Irina's help, these dirty bloodlings will all be purified and completely disappear from this world. This world will be clean. Irina and the white-haired, middle-aged man walked towards the castle. In the castle hall, Viscount Mike's body was covered in sword wounds. As for the remaining 5 bloodlings, they also didn't dare to move. Their originally arrogant heads were lowered, looking at the ground in front of their feet, not daring to move their eyes at all. Lin Fei looked at Viscount Mike and didn't know how to deal with him. After all, he was a viscount. Although it wasn't much, it would be a waste and a pity to kill him just like that. Lin Fei learned a lot of information from Viscount Mike. Compared to Alan, Viscount Mike was much luckier. Lin Fei didn't directly search his memories. It could be considered as a trip to the gates of hell. Lin Fei didn't say anything. Viscount Mike's heart was even more unsettled. His forehead was covered with beads of sweat that flowed down his cheeks. Viscount Mike knew that the Chinese experts were very powerful, but he never thought that this young man in front of him would be this strong. He wasn't someone he could fight against at all, so he could only wait obediently. This feeling of being a fish on the chopping board was very unpleasant. Time ticked by minute. Viscount Mike was suffering. There was a loud bang. A voice flew in from outside and directly smashed into the main hall. The figure landed on the main hall and let out a pained cry. In an instant, it turned into a puff of green smoke that slowly rose into the air. The expressions of all the vampires, including Viscount Mike, changed drastically. Not good. It's the people from the Radiant Church. This is the power of light. It's specialized in restraining our blood clan. One of the 5 blood clan experts cried out in alarm like a mouse seeing a cat. Viscount Mike, your own subordinates aren't even that strong. They can't even block one of my attacks. How dare they commit crimes in England? With a crisp voice, a figure walked in. A man and a woman were already standing at the entrance of the hall. The woman had blonde hair and blue eyes, while the man had white hair, but both of them had a divine aura. When the golden-haired girl came in, she instantly felt that the atmosphere in the hall was a little different. First, it was the 5 blood clan experts. Their faces were deathly pale with fear. Then, in the distance, Viscount Mike, who was on the Radiant Church's wanted list, was kneeling on the ground. His entire body was in a sorry state, as if he had encountered something. On the other hand, there was a young man sitting on the main seat. He had black hair and black eyes. Wasn't he Chinese? The golden-haired girl, Alina, couldn't be sure whether this person was Chinese or not. After all, there were a lot of Asians in the hall. It was difficult to distinguish between real and fake. The golden-haired girl coldly snorted. Her body emitted a holy aura as she directly slashed with her sword. The sword slashed towards the 5 blood tribe experts. The pure and holy sword light was filled with a holy aura. The 5 blood tribe experts' expressions changed drastically as they retreated. You won't be able to escape. The golden-haired girl, Alina, stepped forward. The sword in her hand continuously changed as she slashed at the 5 Blood Clan experts. No matter how fast the 5 Blood Clan experts reacted, they still couldn't block the golden-haired girl's sword. One by one, they were slaughtered and instantly turned into green smoke. Viscount Mike, who was kneeling on the ground, felt his hair stand on end. He already recognized who this golden-haired girl was. She was the Radiant Church's Saintess candidate, Alina. Her radiant sword art was the bane of the Blood Clan. Viscount Mike, I don't care what you're up to today. If you know what's good for you, you'd better confess everything. Otherwise, I'll let you know what regret is with my light sword technique. Irina slashed with her sword. Viscount Mike was also miserable. First, there was a Chinese person. Now, there was Alina from the Radiant Church. There was nothing more miserable than this. Senior, save me. She is Alina from the Radiant Church. As long as Senior can save me, I am willing to rely on you and even offer my soul to you. Viscount Mike panicked. The closer Alina's sword got to him, the more crackling sounds came from Viscount Mike's body. It was as if he was being purified. This was also because Viscount Mike was seriously injured. He simply couldn't resist the radiant sword art. If he was at his peak, he would at most be able to suppress a portion of his strength. But now, Viscount Mike really didn't have the ability to resist. He could only watch helplessly. Viscount Mike knew that if he didn't ask for help, he would die for sure. Young man, you should just sit down obediently. A figure suddenly appeared. It was the white-haired, middle-aged man. He threw a punch at Yi Shiwen. This punch was like a cannonball, fierce and overbearing. In the eyes of this white-haired, middle-aged man, this Chinese person must have colluded with the Dark Church. He didn't need to be lenient with this kind of person. Lin Fei still hadn't thought about how to deal with Viscount Mike. How could he have thought that he would encounter the blonde-haired and blue-eyed people of the Radiant Church? Moreover, these two people were extremely strong, especially the pure and holy aura on their body. They were destined to suppress vampires. It was no wonder that these vampires and Viscount Mike didn't dare to fight them head-on. Under this kind of natural suppression, there was no chance of winning in a one-on-one fight. But now he seemed to be suspected by the people of the Radiant Church. No, it was a misunderstanding. Lin Fei didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The punch of the light aura contained supreme light aura. It was as if it could evaporate all evil aura. This kind of aura made Lin Fei quite uncomfortable. He raised his hand and grabbed the fist of the white-haired, middle-aged man. A pure and holy aura burst out. You are courting death. The white-haired, middle-aged man laughed, full of mockery. Don't you know that my light power can purify everything? Bookseller website. Chapter 42:23. The holy power immediately enveloped Lin Fei's head. It was as if it wanted to purify Lin Fei completely. The white-haired, middle-aged man did not take this person seriously. Any dark creature in front of the holy power could not resist the purification of the holy light. The person in front of him was the same. Although he had an Asian face, he was still unable to resist the invasion of the holy power. This was the first time Lin Fei encountered this kind of holy power. This holy power contained a trace of purifying power. Although this trace of purifying power was very weak, it still had a certain lethality and deterrence to certain creatures. This is the power of the Radiant Church. It really has the ability to suppress. No wonder the vampires are afraid of the experts of the Radiant Church. As soon as he made contact, Lin Fei immediately understood the mystery of this holy power. Naturally, this holy power had no effect on Lin Fei. It couldn't even tickle him. The power in his hand was released. All the holy power was instantly shattered. The white-haired, middle-aged man was sent flying. So you are a high-level vampire. You can actually withstand the attack of the holy power. The white-haired, middle-aged man coldly snorted and took out a huge sword from his back. This huge sword was very big and very wide, emitting a domineering aura. Holy Cross slash! The white-haired middle-aged man roared and directly used the swordsmanship of the Radiant Church. The power of this attack was completely different from before. The Radiant Church, being able to suppress the Dark Church, has some tricks up their sleeves. Just this move alone has increased their strength by 30 to 50%. Lin Fei narrowed his eyes and flicked his finger. A sword light flew out and collided with the Holy Cross slash. The domineering Holy Light Cross slash was slashed apart by the sword light. The white-haired middle-aged man's clothes were cut open by the sword light. You have the nerve to show off your mediocre swordsmanship in front of me. Let me show you a real swordsmanship. Another sword light flew out and repeatedly slashed towards the white-haired middle-aged man. When had the white-haired middle-aged man ever seen such a domineering and invincible swordsmanship? He simply couldn't resist. He was flustered and full of openings. Xiao xiao xiao! The white-haired, middle-aged man's body was hit by countless swords. Pu piu piu piu. In front of Lin Fei, the white-haired, middle-aged man did not resist at all. He retreated all the way to the wall and sat paralyzed on the ground, his body covered in blood. You're a duke of the blood race. When did the blood race give birth to another duke? The white-haired, middle-aged man was very clear about his own strength, but in front of this person he was unable to block at all, especially this sword technique. Although there were only a few slashes, they contained terrifying power. Even if he used all of his skills, he was still unable to block it, and it was unknown how many slashes he had received. The white-haired, middle-aged man had no doubt that if the other party hadn't spared his life, that sword would have easily killed him. On the other side, Viscount Mike was forced to retreat again and again. God knew how many times he had been hit by swords. His entire face was deathly pale, as if he hadn't seen the sun all year round. Alina's palm landed on Viscount Mike's body. Viscount Mike let out a blood-curdling scream, and an unknown amount of green smoke rose from his body. He was thrown against the wall with a bang, and no longer had the strength to stand up. The sword of holy light slashed over. Viscount Mike subconsciously closed his eyes and waited for death. At this time, Alina suddenly caught a glimpse of what was happening in the distance, and was instantly shocked. How is this possible? She turned around and attacked Lin Fei. At the same time, she also heard the white-haired, middle-aged man's words. Duke! Alina almost suspected that she had heard wrong. One had to know that Duke was the most powerful existence in the blood race. So far, there were only a few dukes in the entire blood race, and any one of them was an existence that the Church of Light had always wanted to kill. But this person in front of her was a duke? Alina didn't know him at all. Could it be that this was a newly promoted duke in the blood race? If that was the case, then it would be a huge problem for the Church of Light. The white-haired, middle-aged man shouted, Miss Alina, leave quickly. He is a duke and you are not his match. Alina was the kind of person who refused to admit defeat. Just from the surface, this Asian guy didn't look like a duke at all. But Alina was very clear about the white-haired, middle-aged man's strength. Although he was a bit weaker than her, ordinary blood race couldn't defeat him. At the very least, it would take a count rank blood race to defeat him. He must have made a mistake. This kid might not necessarily be a duke. At most, he is a marquis. Although he is a marquis, I still have the confidence to kill him. Alina didn't retreat. Instead, her body released a powerful, holy aura. Dark Church's remnant die. The entire hall instantly lit up as if it was daytime. This time, Viscount Mike was suffering. He was originally seriously injured, but under this holy power, his body emitted green smoke, and he constantly screamed. Being able to become a saintess in the Church of Light, Alina naturally had her outstanding points. For example, her holy power was much stronger than anyone else's, and her purification ability was even stronger. Under normal circumstances, as long as it was an ordinary blood race, once they encountered the holy power, they would immediately evaporate into nothingness. Usually, Alina didn't even need to do anything, and the blood race would evaporate into nothingness. Alina decided to use her holy power to test this person's strength. Miss Alina, this person seems to be immune to the holy power. You need to be careful. The white-haired, middle-aged man quickly warned. Although his holy power wasn't as strong as Miss Alina's, it was still very strong. He didn't want Miss Alina to suffer. This blonde Miss Alina released the holy power, which surprised Lin Fei, because the holy power of the other party was stronger, and her purification ability was also stronger. Her strength was clearly above the white-haired, middle-aged man. This is your holy power. I think it's only SOSO. The power is still too weak. Lin Fei laughed, and the blood in his body surged. A monstrous sea of blood spread out, and in an instant the holy power was smashed. The whole hall was enveloped by the power of the sea of blood. Alina groaned, and was directly pushed back by the power of the sea of blood. After retreating several steps, she was able to stand firm. I didn't expect the Dark Church to have such a powerful blood race. You really have the strength of a duke. This proves that you have killed a lot of people. I will definitely kill you here. Miss Alina didn't feel any fear because of this monstrous sea of blood. Instead, she revealed excitement as if she had found a prey. Chapter 42:24. Irina was indeed excited. If she could kill this Asian guy in front of her, she would be able to make a great contribution to the Church of Light. Even if this person in front of her wasn't a duke, he would at least be a marquis. It was completely worth it for Irina to take the risk. Holy light blessing, salvation of all living beings. Irina shouted, and the entire hall was once again engulfed by holy light. This time it was even more powerful than before. Viscount Mike screamed again and again as smoke rose from all over his body. "Senior, save me." Viscount Mike was already seriously injured. How could he withstand this kind of holy light attack? The injuries on his body became more and more serious. Even his screams became weaker and weaker. It seemed like he would die at any moment. On the contrary, the sea of blood released by Lin Fei actually showed signs of melting in front of this holy light. This piqued Lin Fei's interest. I didn't expect you to still have some hidden strength. The Church of Light does have some experts, but this alone is still not enough. Lin Fei laughed loudly, and the sky-encompassing sea of blood quickly turned into a towering bloody hand, which slammed down ferociously. "Holy light shield, protect me." Irina waved her hand, and the holy light returned to form a huge light shield in front of her. However, this holy light shield was instantly hit by the towering hand. With a loud crash, the entire holy light shield began to ripple. Not good. Irina's expression suddenly changed. There was a crisp cracking sound like an egg cracking. The holy light shield broke into pieces. Irina was sent flying on the spot. The white-haired, middle-aged man was shocked. He was even more certain that this Asian young man in front of him was a Duke expert. After all, Irina's holy light was very powerful. It could purify everything. Even the holy light shield had the ability to resist the power of a marquis. But now it was destroyed by a bloody hand. If it wasn't a Duke expert, what else could it be? Unfortunately, the white-haired, middle-aged man could only watch. He had no chance to resist and relieve the pressure on Irina. Hua, 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 hua. After Irina was sent flying, holy light gathered behind her, and a pair of white wings appeared, alleviating the impact. She hovered in the air, and her face paled slightly. Her expression became grimmer and grimmer. An expert like you actually appeared in Dark Church. It seems this lady will have to use her real killer move. Irina looked straight at the opposite party and said, "I will definitely kill you here." Lin Fei crooked his finger. "I welcome you to kill me at any time. However, your strength is not enough. In the end, all your efforts will be in vain. That's not a good thing." Irina said coldly, "Don't worry, this kind of thing will definitely not happen. I should be thanking you for giving me the opportunity to use this killer move." Irina's expression suddenly turned solemn, and she began to chant. Viscount Mike, who had been tortured to the brink of death, heard her voice, and his expression changed drastically as though he had seen a demon. "Senior, be careful. The Saintess of Light is summoning an angel. With the blessing of an angel, her strength will instantly increase. You must be careful." Viscount Mike had seen the powerful existences of the Radiant Church. They could summon an angel to enhance their strength. In a short period of time, they would have the strength to sweep everything. "Angel." Lin Fei smiled. "Actually, I am very interested in angels. It is said that there are many angels in the Western world, but I have never seen one. Since the Saintess of the Radiant Church has this ability, of course I will take a look. Otherwise, I will come in vain." Irina, who was summoning an angel, glared at him. It was as if she was saying, "Boy, wait for me. After the angel descends, I will make you regret it." No one had ever dared to ignore an angel like this. The white-haired, middle-aged man's heart became more and more unstable. The Radiant Church's most powerful ability was the angel blessing. On one hand, he was shocked that Irina could use this move, but on the other hand, he could see through this guy. Could it be that this kid wasn't afraid of the angel blessing? It must be known that after the angel blessing, the strength of the Saintess would increase by leaps and bounds. The worst one could reach the Marquis or even Duke level. Although the duration of the blessing wouldn't be long, the difference in strength would be like the difference between heaven and earth. However, the white-haired middle-aged man couldn't see any trace of panic or uneasiness on this young man's body. He was calm and composed as if he was watching a play. Isn't he afraid? This was a very ridiculous thought. Lin Fei was right. He had heard about the existence of angels a long time ago, but he had never seen one. When Irina mentioned summoning an angel, Lin Fei was even more in a hurry to make a move. He wanted to see what was going on with Irina's angel blessing. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A large amount of holy aura gushed out from Irina's body. An invisible force opened up from the void, like a channel, and instantly blessed Irina's body. Lin Fei clearly saw an illusory angel with 4 pairs of wings entering Irina's body. At this moment, Irina's eyes became even more holy. Holy light cross slash. Even though it was the same technique as before, this time around, it was imbued with a holy and inviolable aura, and even space seemed to have congealed around it. At this moment, Irina's strength instantly reached the level of Xiantian full circle, and even surpassed it. Lin Fei could feel the changes in Irina at this moment. The power of any move in her hands would be greatly improved. It seems that the Radiant Church in the Western world is also stronger than I imagined. This is only the blessing of a 4-winged angel, and her strength has been greatly improved. What about 8 or even 12 wings? The corner of Lin Fei's mouth rose slightly, and the sea of blood spread around his body, forming an invisible defense. The holy light attacked and continuously evaporated the sea of blood, but only a part of it was evaporated. Irina had already rushed over, and in the blink of an eye, she was in front of Lin Fei. Holy light salvation! Irina slashed with her huge sword. Lin Fei did not retreat. He raised his hand and flicked the sword. With a loud buzz, the sword light collapsed. "I am very interested in the angel in your body. You can forget about it." Lin Fei suddenly raised his hand, and the endless sea of blood instantly shrouded over, breaking through the power of the holy light. Under Irina's shocked gaze, Lin Fei instantly imprisoned Irina. "Get out." The holy aura in Irina's body suddenly changed, and the 4-winged angel that had entered her body was forcibly pulled out. It kept struggling, but still could not break free. Chapter 42:25. P.S. First update today. Second update will resume tomorrow. He's been caught. He's been caught. The 4-winged angel has actually been caught. The white-haired, middle-aged man sat on the ground, paralyzed. His face was filled with endless fear. He had never heard anyone say that a summoned, four-winged angel could be captured by someone else. Elena's face was filled with shock. Her originally dense energy disappeared in an instant, and she fell from the clouds. It was a very uncomfortable feeling. The four-winged angel I summoned was caught. Elena was in a daze. The four-winged angel caught by Lin Fei kept struggling and turned into an illusory angel. The angel's eyes were cold and incomparably holy. A jingguang shot out from his eyes. This jingguang contained a terrifying, purifying energy. It also contained an aura that made souls fear. Lin Fei snorted and slapped down with his palm. That purifying power instantly crumbled. The four-winged angel's essence, energy, and spirit changed greatly. You still dare to struggle? It's just an illusory will. Who gave you the courage? Lin Fei raised his hand and flicked the four-winged angel 3 times in a row. Each time, it hit the four-winged angel. It looked like 3 light hits, but to this illusory four-winged angel, it was nothing more than a disaster. The four-winged angel's body trembled, and it seemed to shrink. Your four-winged angel is too weak. Seeing that you have dense energy, I can do something. Lin Fei laughed lightly. He grabbed with 5 fingers and crushed the four-winged angel. The remaining pure energy was like a stream of light entering Viscount Mike's body. After receiving the energy of the four-winged angel, the heavily injured Viscount Mike's face recovered instantly. His face became rosy, and he cried out in surprise, "I broke through! I finally broke through!" It turned out that Viscount Mike actually broke through at this moment. First, he broke through from the Viscount realm to the Count realm. Then he instantly broke through to the Marquis realm. He only stopped when he reached the peak of the Marquis realm. Ha 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 ha! I finally became a Marquis. I am no longer that Viscount. Marquis Mike was overjoyed. Suddenly, a hand slapped the Marquis and sent him flying. Shut up and stand there obediently. With a single slap, the Marquis was sent flying like an ant, crashing into the wall. After landing, Marquis McManry crawled up, but there was no anger on his face. Instead, he was respectful. At this moment, he looked at Lin Fei with eyes full of worship. Han Sun had never expected his power to increase in such a way. In the blink of an eye, he absorbed the four-winged angel's essence and became a Marquis. This was something that Mike had never dared to think about in his life. Now, there was no longer any hatred in his heart. There was only worship and fear. Even if he was a Marquis, he would still be slapped away. Killing him would be as easy as flipping a hand. You shameless bastard! How dare you refine Lord Angel? You are courting death. Irina's eyes were filled with coldness and fear. There was also a trace of nervousness and trembling in her words. That was the great four-winged angel, but it was completely destroyed in front of this young man. The remaining energy even raised Viscount Mike to the level of a Marquis. It could be said that he had reached the heavens in a single step. Irina had never seen such an arrogant guy. As soon as he finished speaking, Irina felt a surge of power greet her. She instantly smashed to the ground and spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. You are just a saintess in training. Don't think that I won't hit women just because I am a man. You can only say that you are lucky. Otherwise, you would be a pile of rotten meat now. Lin Fei said calmly, "Seeing that I am in a good mood today, hurry up and get lost." This was the first time Irina had been disregarded like this. However, she couldn't refute him. He was so ridiculously powerful that even the four-winged angel was caught. The power that was clearly compatible with her body was taken away, just like that. The white-haired, middle-aged man struggled to get up. He came to Irina's side and helped her up. "Saintess, let's leave immediately. If we don't leave now, I am afraid we won't be able to get out of here." The white-haired, middle-aged man saw through things more clearly than anyone else. Even if this man didn't kill them, the Blood Clan would definitely not miss such an opportunity to kill all of them. I will remember you. I, Irina, will definitely come and find you again. Although Irina was afraid of him, her gaze became very determined. She must kill this Asian young man in front of her. Lin Fei said calmly, "Remember, the next time you come, you must summon a powerful angel. A 4-winged angel is still too weak. No matter what, you must summon an 8-winged or 12-winged angel." Irina almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Summoning a 4-winged angel almost cost her life. Her vitality was greatly damaged, let alone an 8-winged angel or a 12-winged angel. Marquis Mike kept staring at Irina as she left with the white-haired, middle-aged man. In fact, he really wanted to make a move, but he didn't have any guts because that young man was more terrifying than he imagined. After the two of them left completely, Marquis Mike knelt in front of Lin Fei with a plop. "My lord, from now on, I, Mike, am your man. If you want me to go east, I will never dare to go west. If you want me to kill someone, I will kill them. You are my lord forever." Mike had joined the Dark Church for so long, but his strength hadn't improved much. But it was this young man who easily made his strength improve by leaps and bounds. He felt like he was dreaming. Compared to this, the Dark Church was nothing. As for how to choose, Mike knew how to make a choice better than anyone else. Lin Fei sat down and looked at Marquis Mike condescendingly. "You are quite smart. You know how to make a choice. Otherwise, I really don't mind killing you with one palm." Marquis Mike broke out in cold sweat. He admired his own cleverness and kowtowed again and again. "Great master, it was you who promoted me from Viscount to Marquis and let me see hope. I am willing to follow a powerhouse like you. I ask master to take me in so that I can be at your service." Marquis Mike didn't dare to raise his head. His heart was trembling. As long as he could curry favor with him, he might have a chance to become a Grand Duke in the future. Chapter 42:26. Lin Fei's original intention was to kill Mike, but after a series of events he changed his mind. Leaving a nail in the Western world seemed to be a pretty good thing. The most important thing was that Irina had done a good deed. Lin Fei had the opportunity to promote Mike from Viscount to Marquis in one fell swoop. It might be difficult for others, but in the eyes of Lin Fei, this matter was very simple and easy to accomplish. There was no need to do anything to Marquis Mike. This Marquis Mike had already thoroughly regarded Lin Fei as his new master and abandoned the Dark Church. After all, he had followed the Dark Church for such a long time. Apart from completing all kinds of missions, his own strength didn't improve in any way. If there was no accident, he would at most cultivate to the level of Count in his lifetime. Being able to cultivate to the level of Marquis was already his good luck. But now, in the blink of an eye, he had become a great expert of Marquis. He was only a step away from becoming a Duke of the Dark Church. Just thinking about it made him ecstatic. Mike knew that following this Chinese talent in front of him was his only chance. Even reaching the level of Grand Duke of the Dark Church wouldn't be difficult. Whatever Lin Fei asked, Mike answered. Not only did he say what he knew, he also said some things that he had heard through hearsay. He simply didn't dare to omit anything. After a while, Lin Fei had a comprehensive understanding of the Dark Church. It could be said that his understanding was more detailed than anyone else's. It seems that your Dark Church is quite big. Experts are as common as clouds. You even have experts of Grand Duke level. Lin Fei narrowed his eyes as if he was thinking about something. According to Mike, above Marquis was Duke. Duke should be an expert of Xiantian Great Perfection level. Above Duke, there was another level, and that was Grand Duke. Every Grand Duke was an existence that had broken through to Qi refining realm and could contend against the angels of the Light Church. Then do you know if there is such a place in England? Lin Fei suddenly remembered something. I remember it was called the Mythical Mountain. No, it should be the Divine Mountain. It should have been in England for quite a long time. It even has some history. Mike lowered his head. When he heard this, he quickly searched his mind. But after a moment, his eyes revealed a trace of fear and fear. He carefully said, "Master, could this sacred mountain be the one that the Radiant Church is currently occupying? As far as I can remember, this is the only place that is called the Divine Mountain. You won't be able to find another sacred mountain in all of England." Lin Fei did not know whether to laugh or cry. "Are you sure there's only one sacred mountain in England? It just so happens that it's occupied by the Radiant Church." Marquis Mike nodded. "There's only one sacred mountain in England. I heard that it was left behind a long time ago. Now, it's the second branch of the Radiant Church. However, even the second branch still has experts overseeing it. It's said that they can summon a great 12-winged angel. Therefore, the sacred mountain has always been incomparably sacred. No one has been able to ascend it. For us vampires, once we get close to the sacred mountain, we'll be attacked by the sacred aura within 100 miles. After Lin Fei asked a few more questions, he realized that the sacred mountain really did fall into the hands of the Radiant Church. He couldn't help but make a few guesses. Could it be that the Radiant Church is also aware of the existence of the giant lizard? Lin Fei suppressed the thoughts in his mind. He decided to take one step at a time. If worst comes to worst, I'll personally go to the sacred mountain. Master, could it be that you are interested in the treasures of the God Mountain? I heard that it is just a rumor spread by the God Mountain to the outside world. There are no treasures on the God Mountain. Mike seemed to have thought of something and said in a low voice. Lin Fei raised his eyelids and said, "What? Could it be that there's news about the treasure on the sacred mountain?" Mike nodded. A long time ago, there was indeed news about the treasure on the sacred mountain. Our vampires also sent a lot of experts, but they were ambushed by the experts of the Radiant Church on the sacred mountain. Our vitality was greatly damaged, so much so that our church hasn't been able to recover even after all these years. Lin Fei was a little interested in the Dark Church. Then what good things does your Dark Church have? Mike said, "Our Dark Church should have a treasure. I heard that it's in the headquarters of the Dark Church. It is said that it's a powerful magic tool that is used to fight against the sacred tool of the Radiant Church. And this magic tool is in the hands of the Dark Church's leader." Lin Fei wasn't too interested in these things. Apart from this magic tool, is there anything else? I heard a friend say that the headquarters of the Dark Church has a dark demon dragon, but I don't know if it's true or not. It is said that if an expert wants to become a Grand Duke, they must obtain the blood of the dark demon dragon. But this secret has never been recognized, so we marquises are not qualified to know about it. It is said that only marquises can know about it. Lin Fei's eyes brightened. Your Dark Church has a dark demon dragon? That is very rare. You are now a marquis, so you can go and ask around. You can also expand your influence. Maybe I will have something for you to do. Mike respectfully said, "Master, don't worry. Now that I have the strength of a marquis, I am qualified to join the core level of the Dark Church. When that time comes, Master can do anything you want. I don't want to hear about what happened tonight. You should know that," Lin Fei said, then turned around and left the castle. From beginning to end, Mike was respectful and adoring, with a hint of rapturous joy. "You pieces of trash, get up. You can't even stop the people of the Radiant Church. What use do you have?" Marquis Mike's eyes were cold as he looked at the 5 vampires. They were so scared that they shivered and knelt in front of him. Lin Fei left the castle and sensed that Irina and the white-haired, middle-aged man had disappeared. Their aura was getting farther and farther away from him. They should be afraid, so they went back to their headquarters. "I hope you can send more experts." Lin Fei quietly returned to his hotel as if nothing had happened. There was no news about what happened in the castle. Everything was calm. But for Irina and the white-haired, middle-aged man, This trip was like walking on the edge of death. Miao Shu House. Chapter 42:27. The appointed day was getting closer and closer. On the other hand, Lin Fei's side was quite free. Mike broke through from Viscount to Marquis. He immediately reported the news to the Dark Church, causing a huge uproar in the Dark Church. After all, everyone knew that Mike was just a Viscount. Even if he broke through again, he would at most reach the Count level. But now, in the blink of an eye, he had become a Marquis. This really shocked the experts of the Dark Church. Many of them, who looked down on Mike, were dumbfounded. Everyone knew that Mike was about to step into the core of the Dark Church in one fell swoop. Mike's breakthrough quickly gained the approval of the Dark Church. Who let Mike be a veteran and also a person with a clean identity? It was very normal for him to rise to the top. After entering the core of the Dark Church, all the secrets that outsiders didn't know were all revealed to Mike. Mike also immediately sent this information to Lin Fei. Unknowingly, Lin Fei had a deeper understanding of the Dark Church. For example, he confirmed that the Sacred Mountain had indeed been occupied by the Light Church. And before that, the Sacred Mountain had always belonged to the Dark Church, but they were no match for the Light Church. This also made Lin Fei even more certain that the Big Lizard should be sealed under the Sacred Mountain. As for whether the people of the Light Church had discovered it or not, that was another matter. Lin Fei wasn't in a hurry to make his move. As long as he found the location of the Sacred Mountain, the rest would be simple. At worst, he would just have to go to the Sacred Mountain. Even if the Light Church could summon a 12-winged angel, so what? At that time, Lin Fei would be able to cultivate a Grand Duke-level expert. In the blink of an eye, half a month passed. In this half a month, Lin Fei lived a leisurely and carefree life. Yang Liushi, who was studying abroad, would look for Lin Fei when she had nothing to do. Acting as a local guide, they practically toured the entire city. One morning, someone knocked on the door of Lin Fei's hotel room. Lin Fei knew that Yi Zixuan and the others had arrived. After opening the door, he saw an Asian man. This man took out an envelope and handed it to Lin Fei before turning around and leaving. Lin Fei opened the envelope. The envelope contained only a piece of white paper and an address. These days, Lin Fei also had an impression of this place. He immediately knew the approximate location of the address. It was quite far away. He furrowed his brows slightly, then relaxed. I never thought that Yi Zixuan's target would actually be this place. Looks like it's really quite a coincidence. However, Yi Zixuan is also quite bold. She actually dared to make a move against them. Isn't she afraid of being hunted down in the Western world? Lin Fei laughed out loud. He simply packed up and went out. Beyond England, there were mountains. There was a huge castle on the side of the mountain. It was 3 days' journey from the center of England. Lin Fei got himself a car and unhurriedly rushed to the location written on the letter. They should be in the town up ahead. There was a small town in front of the mountain. The town didn't seem big. However, Lin Fei could smell a different aura from the town. It was a sacred aura that he was very familiar with. Outside the town, he could vaguely see a huge castle standing on top of a tall mountain. This mountain was a little unusual. It was a triangular mountain. The top part of it seemed to have been flattened by an external force. A palace was built on top of it. It was vaguely visible among the lingering clouds. Lin Fei retracted his gaze after taking a few glances. He drove to the town and finally walked into a small bar. The bar was very quiet. He could smell the mellow aroma of alcohol. One of the people inside raised his glass and slapped the table with his left hand. A glass flew slowly towards Lin Fei. Try the alcohol here. It's pretty good. It's a local taste that you can't get anywhere else. The person who spoke to Lin Fei was Xue Xiaotian. He had changed a lot since the last time they met. The aura on his body was a lot stronger. At the same time, there were a few more wounds on his body. Lin Fei took the glass and saw that it was filled with beer. Lin Fei smiled and drank a few mouthfuls. The taste is really good. He sat down beside Xue Xiaotian. He didn't see anyone else. Where are Saintess Yi and the others? Xue Xiaotian chuckled. Who knows? Yi Zixuan isn't an ordinary person. She might be plotting something. In any case, it doesn't matter to me. Lin Fei sat down and put the glass on the table. Was this the place Yi Zixuan picked? Or is it the radiant church behind us? There was no one in the bar. It was obvious that Xue Xiaotian had killed them. Lin Fei naturally wasn't afraid of others finding out. Xue Xiaotian nodded. It should be the radiant church. I also admire Yi Zixuan's courage. If it was an ordinary person, they wouldn't have dared to come. However, it's the radiant church. Just thinking about it makes me excited. Lin Fei didn't see a single trace of panic from Xue Xiaotian. All he saw was a trace of excitement. This guy was no different from a lunatic. No wonder Yi Zixuan would look for Xue Xiaotian. Lin Fei didn't get much information from Xue Xiaotian. Therefore, he didn't say anything else. He just silently tasted the beer in his hand. He had to admit that the taste of the beer brewed here was pretty good. It was strong yet mild. It was a genuine local product. After a dozen minutes, another figure walked in. This person was Fan Tianxue from the Ghost sect. This guy was dressed in black, like a cloak. His face was paler than before, but his aura had become a lot stronger. After Fan Tianxue came in, he glanced at Xue Xiaotian and Lin Fei. Then he casually found a seat and sat down. Not long after Fan Tianxue arrived, Luo Yong also entered the bar. The last one was Yi Zixuan. As soon as Saintess Yi arrived, Xue Xiaotian said, Saintess Yi, you really know how to pick a good place. The Radiant Church is just a few dozen miles away. Just thinking about it makes me excited. I say, isn't this too risky? Yi Zixuan was dressed like a fashionable girl. There wasn't a trace of a warrior's aura on her. As the saying goes, fortune is found in danger. You are all outstanding geniuses. I think you definitely won't be afraid of the Radiant Church. I have already investigated. The Divine Dragon Key is in the Radiant Church's branch. As long as we act carefully, we won't be discovered. Moreover, with the 5 of us working together, we can even kill a Xiantian realm expert, Yi Zixuan said. Miaoshu House. Chapter 4228. At first, Lin Fei thought that they would be going to a very far place. For example, a deep mountain forest or an island. But he didn't expect it to be closer than he imagined. Especially after listening to Yi Zixuan's words about the Radiant Church's branch, he realized that the Radiant Church was somewhat different from the rumors. Lin Fei already knew a lot about the Radiant Church's branch from Mike. Combined with Yi Zixuan's information, he was able to confirm his guess. The Radiant Church's branch was more dangerous than he had imagined. This was because a huge lizard was being suppressed at the bottom of the mountain. Lin Fei believed that outsiders should not know about this. As for those who knew about it, they were either old or dead. At the very least, the people in front of him wouldn't know about it. I've already explained it to everyone. As for the remaining matters, I think everyone should know what to do. Yi Zixuan handed over the information to everyone. If anyone still has any doubts, feel free to tell me. After all, we're going to a branch of the Church of Light this time. Not some other place where we can meet experts of the Church of Light if we're not careful. Xue Xiaotian was the first to speak. I don't have any objections. Being able to fight with the angels of the Radiant Church is also a kind of experience. Fan Tianxue said gloomily, I also don't have any problems. I just want to confirm that the Radiant Church's branch has the Dragon Key, as well as the rumored God Water of Life. I don't want to be chased by the Radiant Church if we don't get anything. Yi Zixuan chuckled. I have people from the Radiant Church's branch here. I've already investigated everything. The Dragon Key is in their treasury. As for the God Water of Life, it's underground. With our strength and the help of our spies, we can naturally obtain the God Water of Life. As for the danger, It's not as dangerous as everyone thinks. The Radiant Church's branch doesn't have many experts. I heard that they all went out on missions. Currently, the Radiant Church's branch doesn't have many experts. The sect leader is a Sciention realm expert, but that person has already gone into seclusion, so there's no need to worry. After Yi Zixuan said this, Fan Tinxue didn't say anything. Luo Yong also faintly said, I have no opinion, but if we really encounter any danger, I won't help you resist the enemy. Let's escape first. Don't blame me for not helping you at that time. Everyone nodded. If they were to encounter such a situation, they would naturally flee for their lives. As for helping, it was better to forget about it. If they lost their lives, they wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Since no one has any objections, neither do I, Lin Fei said with a smile. Anyway, I'm quite interested in the branch of the Church of Light. This time, I can go up the mountain and have a look. It can also solve one of my thoughts. Yi Zixuan naturally did not hear the meaning in Lin Fei's words. All right, let's set off now. Yi Zixuan was an urgent person. She did not wish to waste any more time on this matter. She wanted to get the Divine Dragon key first. Out of the bar, the group left the small town and ran along the winding mountain path towards the mountain. Yi Zixuan seemed to be very familiar with this place. She avoided the hidden sentries and high-tech surveillance equipment along the way and unknowingly arrived at the foot of the mountain. At the foot of this mountain, they could feel the holy aura of the Church of Light. Their thoughts became uncomfortable. Everyone, don't worry, this is just an array formation left behind by the Radiant Church's branch. This area is filled with a sacred aura, but it is nothing to us martial artists. They only used it to guard against the vampires. Yi Zixuan made a gesture, and everyone stopped. Xue Xiaotan said, It doesn't matter if you're a warrior, but my cultivation method is opposing this holy aura. I'm sure I'll feel even more uncomfortable than you. Fan Tinxue was the same. He frowned slightly. He did not say much. His gaze was ice-cold, as if he was thinking about something. Everyone, follow me in a moment. There are a total of 5 hidden sentries around this mountain. If we're not careful, we'll be discovered by them. At that time, we'll have to face the experts of the Church of Light. Although these experts aren't very strong, there are many ants. It'll be hard to deal with them. Everyone should understand. Yi Zixuan, the saintess, also had a dignified expression. Everyone was a warrior, so they could naturally feel the abnormality of this mountain. The one who felt it the most was none other than Lin Fei. The moment he got close to the mountain, he sensed a dangerous aura. Of course, Lin Fei was the only one who could detect this dangerous aura. Sure enough, what Danding Gate said is true. There is indeed a big lizard below. However, this big lizard seems to be more powerful than I imagined. It seems the Church of Light knows about the existence of this big lizard, but they couldn't do anything to it for a while. Their real purpose should be to tame this big lizard. After all, such a big lizard is very powerful. It will definitely be a great help to the Church of Light. At the same time, it can also slap the face of the Dark Church. Lin Fei instantly figured out the reason why the branch of the Church of Light was located here. Haha, fortunately I came. If I came later, this big lizard would have been controlled by the Church of Light. At that time, it would be somewhat troublesome to snatch it. Lin Fei was a person who hated trouble. At the same time, he realized that the branch of the Church of Light was more dangerous than he imagined. Yi Zixuan shouldn't have any specific information. She might have been tricked. Lin Fei also wasn't a good person, so he naturally didn't feel like saying anything to Yi Zixuan. Although Yi Zixuan and the god of war Yi Xian were related, Yi Xian's strength was just that, so Lin Fei didn't take it seriously. There were 5 hidden sentries inside and outside the mountain. Yi Zixuan carefully led everyone to break through. If not for Yi Zixuan leading the way, they really wouldn't have been able to avoid these hidden sentries. Maybe they would have already been discovered. At this time, they had already arrived at the halfway point of the mountain. There was a small path that led straight to the top of the mountain. As for climbing up from the outside, it was simply impossible because the branch of the Church of Light had left behind all kinds of means. Half an hour later, they finally reached the peak from the halfway point of the mountain. After reaching the peak, they discovered that the peak was much bigger than they had imagined. The buildings were connected together, just like a small town. China's Saintess Yi Zixuan, as well as you proud sons of heaven, I have been waiting for you for a long time. A loud crashing sound resounded. A splendid light spread out, instantly enveloping the peak as if it was daytime. Chapter 42:29. The moment the light shone. Everyone's expressions, including Yi Zixuan's, changed greatly because this scene caught them somewhat unprepared. Lin Fei was the only one who sensed it in advance. Yi Zixuan, how are you going to explain this? Xue Xiaotian said coldly. His entire body was filled with vigilance. This time, we have become fish on the chopping board. Fan Tian Xue's gaze grew even colder. Yi Zixuan was also confused. She had made arrangements in advance to catch the other party off guard so that she could snatch the divine dragon key away. It would be perfect if he could snatch some of the divine water of life as well. However, the scene before him seemed to be a little different from what he had expected. There was a bang. A figure fell heavily to the ground. Saintess Yi, you can't be blamed for this matter. It can only be said that the person you bribed was seen through by me, so I laid a big net and waited for you to take the bait. Now it seems that it's not bad. 5 big fish. If I take you down, maybe I can bite a piece of meat from the hands of the forces behind you. A figure walked out. It was a Caucasian man. He was about 2 meters tall and was wearing the attire of a priest. There were many people following behind him. Yi Zixuan immediately recognized the person on the ground. It was the spy she had arranged. They had cultivated this person for a long time, but they didn't expect him to be seen through just like that. Hierarch Felix, aren't you in seclusion? You didn't. It seems like I've underestimated you. Yi Zixuan's gaze only paused on that person for a moment before immediately landing on the tall Caucasian. His expression turned solemn, with a hint of anticipation, because this person was the head of the Church of Light's branch, Lord Philip. Felix was the leader of the Light Church's branch. His strength was valiant and could be described as unfathomable. With him overseeing this branch, the Dark Church had been suppressed and didn't dare to move. It could be said that he had made great contributions. When Yi Zixuan called out his name, Xue Xiaotian, Fan Tinxuet, and the others' faces changed. They knew a little about the experts in the Western world. Felix, for example, was an expert amongst experts. He personally oversaw the branch of the Church of Light and possessed a sacred artifact. He was not to be underestimated. This is bad. I didn't think that Felix would not be in cultivation retreat. It'll be troublesome for us to leave, Xue Xiaotian said in a hushed tone. If only I had known that Felix was here, I wouldn't have come. Although these people were very strong, Felix's name was equivalent to the shadow of a tree. In the Western world, he was a peak existence. It would be strange if they didn't fear him. Felix's gaze swept across the 5 people, feeling extremely satisfied. These were 5 big fish, and if he could capture them, he would be able to eat a big piece of meat. Where else could he find such a good thing? At the same time, he could also use this to deter the Chinese powers, warning them that the Western world wasn't a place that just anyone could barge into. However, the pretty face of the figure standing behind Felix changed slightly. A trace of panic flashed across her eyes, but she quickly returned to normal. This person was none other than Irina, the saintess in training. Ever since she had returned that day, Irina had sent people to investigate Lin Fei's information. In a short amount of time, she had obtained some results. However, Irina didn't really approve of the information. In reality, Lin Fei seemed to be even more terrifying than what was written in the information. She had even summoned the 4-winged angel, and he had single-handedly raised Mike from the Viscount realm to the Marquis realm. If Irina hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she wouldn't have believed it. Not much time had passed, and now Lin Fei had come to the Church of Light's branch. How dare he come? Even if he is very strong, can he be stronger than the Church of Light? This is the Church of Light. Irina quickly got rid of the panic in her heart and calmed down. Her eyes became more spirited as she stared at Lin Fei. When Irina saw Lin Fei also saw her. In fact, when he had been going up the mountain, he had already felt Irina and the white-haired, middle-aged man's auras. Saintess Yi, I feel that since it's rare for you to come to the Western world and to the Church of Light, you should stay here for a while. The scenery in the Western world is quite good, and everyone is very enthusiastic. Felix smiled. Yi Zixuan said, "What if I leave? No matter how good the Western world is, I feel that it's not as good as the Eastern world." Felix said lightly, "That's not up to you. In the Church of Light, if I say two, no one dares to say one. If you don't believe me, you can try." Yi Zixuan's face looked calm, but she was panicking in her heart. Although their combined strength could suppress a Xiantian expert, this Archbishop Felix was different. For Felix to be able to oversee the Church of Light's branch, his strength was naturally unfathomable. Originally, Yi Zixuan didn't care much about this archbishop. From the information she had gathered, she knew that this church leader had been in closed-door cultivation, trying to break through a bottleneck. Only then did Yi Zixuan dare to come to the Church of Light. Now that Felix was here, things were different. Moreover, the surroundings seemed to have activated a radiant formation. The holy aura was constantly affecting their minds. "Everyone, I'm really sorry. I didn't think that, because of my mistake, everyone would be trapped here." Yi Zixuan transmitted her voice to everyone. "Right now, we only have one chance, and that is to take advantage of the chaos to leave. We can only delay the matter of obtaining the divine dragon key for the time being. At this time, unless they left the Church of Light, they could forget about going to the divine dragon secret domain." Shui Xiaotian rolled his eyes. "Let's talk about it after we leave this place alive. I would rather fall into the hands of the Dark Church than the Church of Light. Who doesn't know that the people of the Church of Light are a bunch of lunatics?" Whoosh! In an instant, Shui Xiaotian turned into a streak of bloodlight and rushed out. Fan Tianshue's movement was also very fast. He punched out, creating countless bloody shadows that enveloped the experts of the other side. At the same time he retreated. Luo Yong roared. His entire body became incomparably huge, like a small mountain. The aura on his body also became fiercer. With a stomp of his foot, he was sent flying. Yi Zixuan inwardly cursed the three of them for acting so fast. They actually left her behind. She stretched out her hand and took out her trump card from her waist. A black ball. She threw it towards them. Bang! A black fog instantly pervaded the air. Yi Zixuan grabbed the black fog and quickly retreated. Lin Fei was the slowest one. I thought that Yi Zixuan and the others would fight against the great sect master. But now, it seems that these fellows don't have much courage. When they came, they were so arrogant. But now, it seems that they are only SOSO. Lin Fei shook his head in disappointment. Their combat power was lacking. "Lin Fei, since you have come to our Church of Light, you don't need to leave." Elena had long been suppressing her anger. Now, she finally had the chance to vent it. Bookseller's House. Chapter 4230. When Irina saw that Lin Fei did not leave, she immediately became excited. She finally had a chance to capture this guy. If it was somewhere else, she might not be able to do anything. However, this was the Radiant Church's branch, and all the experts were gathered here. Irina did not believe that Lin Fei would be able to escape from here. Flying out, Archbishop Felix was very surprised. It was rare to see such an expression on Irina's face. Could it be that this kid had an extraordinary background? Holy Maiden Irina, do you know this Chinese kid? Archbishop Felix had some understanding of the younger generation of Chinese experts. However, he did not know much about this kid. At first glance, he felt that he was a stranger. Archbishop Felix had a very high opinion of Irina. Although Irina was only one of the Holy Maiden candidates, her potential was limitless. She had made many contributions to the Radiant Church, and in the future, she would be able to fight for the position of Holy Maiden. Archbishop Felix noticed the killing intent in Irina's eyes. It was evident that this Chinese young man knew Irina. Although they knew each other, Irina's emotions did not seem to be quite right. Archbishop, this person is the Lin Fei I told you about. I had already taken down Viscount Mike, but because of this person, everything collapsed. Even my four-winged angel fell. Irina said with a face full of hatred. Archbishop Felix finally understood what was going on. He had heard of this matter before. He knew that Irina had suffered a loss at the hands of an expert, but he did not expect that expert to be this young man in front of him. If it was not for Irina gnashing her teeth, it would be hard to believe that this was done by this guy. Archbishop Felix coldly snorted. You guys go chase after those fellows. Leave this guy for Irina to deal with. Remember, those people must be captured alive. If they are killed, it will be hard to explain. The Radiant Church was very powerful. They were fearless in the Western world and were extremely powerful. However, they were still afraid of the Far East. He did not wish for any accidents to happen because of these few youngsters. If those antiques from the Far East came to take revenge, it would not be good for the Radiant Church. If things went wrong, they might even suffer a great loss. One figure after another flew away. More than half of the experts who had been following Archbishop Felix had left. The rest of them locked their gazes on Lin Fei. It seemed that as long as Lin Fei made a move, they would immediately capture him. Irina, you women are so narrow-minded. I let you go back then, and now you want to get someone to capture me? You're not good. My mother was right. All beautiful women are liars. Lin Fei said seriously. You're right. All beautiful women are liars. A hint of displeasure appeared on Irina's face. You still dare to talk glibly in the Church of Light? See if I don't tear your mouth apart. Whoosh! Holy light appeared behind Irina. She reached out, and a long whip appeared in her hand. She then lashed it at Lin Fei. Bang, bang, bang. After the whip lashed out, it instantly turned into countless shadows, enveloping Lin Fei. After suffering a loss last time, Irina had secretly pondered over this attack before coming up with this attack. You're quite smart to think of a way to deal with me. However, this method won't work. Lin Fei smiled faintly. When the whip shadows were about to reach Lin Fei, they were blocked by an invisible force. No matter how Irina attacked, she was still unable to get close to Lin Fei. Alina attacked fiercely, but in the end it was all in vain. She couldn't even touch her opponent's clothes. This was hard for Irina to accept. See, I said that your strength is lacking. You can't even break through my defense. What makes you think you can catch me? Even if I were here, you would only be able to stare at me. Lin Fei smiled faintly. However, for Irina, even though she had used all her methods, it was still useless. Instead, her face was flushed red to the point where she could barely hold on. She was a candidate for the saintess of the Church of Light. Every time she did something, she would be decisive and not sloppy. However, with Lin Fei, she had encountered a setback. Why don't you summon another four-winged angel? Maybe that four-winged angel will be able to injure me. Lin Fei smiled. It would have been fine if she hadn't mentioned anything else, but the mention of the four-winged angel made her feel terrible. Shut up. You still dare to say that? If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have lost a four-winged angel. At the thought of this, Irina felt aggrieved. The Church of Light had so many candidates for the saintess, but she was the only one who lost a four-winged angel. Irina didn't know how to go back and explain it. When the time came, she would inevitably be scolded. Perhaps those saintess in training would kick her when she was down, and all of this was caused by Lin Fei. Isn't it just a four-winged angel? Even if it's gone, I can still summon more. What's wrong with that? You can't say that there's a limit to the number of four-winged angels, right? Irina's face turned pale, and her eyes were filled with tears. It seemed like they would fall at any moment. Archbishop Felix, who had been watching from the side, had a slightly gloomy expression. The few of you, go and have a taste of this kid's methods. Swish, swish, swish. The experts behind Archbishop Felix all followed Irina. They were all wielding great swords that glittered with a cold light. With one look, one could tell that they weren't ordinary weapons. Saintess Irina, don't be discouraged. This person is in our Church of Light. Naturally, he won't be able to escape our clutches. Later, I will personally take him down and hand him over to you. Only then did Irina feel much better. The number one expert of the Church of Light's branch was Archbishop Felix. No one knew exactly how strong Archbishop Felix was. However, everyone who had fought with Archbishop Felix had all been defeated. Some died, while the rest were imprisoned in the Church of Light's dungeon, suffering so much that they wished they were dead. Thank you for your concern, Archbishop. The experts who had attacked were indeed very powerful. When they joined forces, they were actually able to shake the void. Every one of them actually had the strength of a Xiantian realm expert. However, their methods were still unable to break through Lin Fei's defenses. No matter how they attacked, Lin Fei's defenses were as solid as a mountain and as immovable as a boulder. Put in more effort, don't stop. At least let me experience the methods of your Church of Light. When I get out of here, I will be able to talk to everyone and see how they feel about the Church of Light. This can be considered as a free advertisement for you. Don't worry, I won't charge you. Lin Fei laughed. These words undoubtedly provoked the experts. Chapter 40, 231. The methods of the Radiant Church were actually very simple. Among them, the greatest deterrent was the Holy Light. The power of the Holy Light contained the power of purification. It had a strong killing effect on dark creatures, like the vampires. When they fought, their strength would often be suppressed by 30 to 40%. As time went by, they were naturally not a match for the Radiant Church. The methods of these people were useless against Lin Fei. Now, they could only bitterly search for a way to break Lin Fei's defense. However, how could Lin Fei's defense be so easily broken? No matter how they attacked, it was still the same. In any case, they just couldn't break this layer of defense. Helplessness appeared on their faces. This was the first time they encountered such a powerful opponent. Even they couldn't break this layer of defense. One could only imagine how terrifying this layer of defense was. I think you guys should just summon the angels. I personally prefer to fight with angels. It doesn't matter if it's a 4-winged angel, 6-winged angel, or 8-winged angel. As long as it's an angel, it's fine. Lin Fei smiled and said to them. The experts of the Radiant Church almost fainted from anger. Hateful guy, we will definitely tear your defense apart and take you down on the spot. In the Radiant Church, who didn't know that it wasn't easy to summon an angel. It required the recognition of the Radiant Church. If they could summon an angel, their status would be incomparable to their current status. Then why would they need to gang up on a Chinese kid? Lin Fei's words were like a slap to their faces. It was so painful. Of course, this had also attracted a lot of hatred. As a result, their methods became even more violent and all kinds of moves emerged one after another. All right, you guys can retreat. This person isn't someone you can deal with. Archbishop Felix's complexion was somewhat unsightly. These experts were the top experts of the Radiant Church's branch. If they joined hands, even if a Duke of the Dark Church came, they would still be able to severely injure him. Mysterious East, mysterious expert. May I know who your master is? To be able to nurture an expert like you, I think your master isn't a nobody. Maybe I even know him. Archbishop Felix couldn't see through this Chinese kid for a moment. With such strength, even if he were to make a move himself, it would still take him some time to break this layer of defense. It was hard to imagine that the other party was so young. Lin Fei chuckled. I'm sorry, but you don't have the right to know about my master unless you defeat me first. Are you ready to go down? If that's the case, make your move as soon as possible. After beating you up, I'm preparing to deal with this little Liangpi. When Irina heard him call her little Liangpi, although she didn't know what it meant, she more or less knew that it was definitely a curse. Archbishop Felix had indeed decided to personally take the field. If he didn't step in, no one present would be able to stop Lin Fei. I am a person who is eager to hunt. It is not easy for me to encounter an expert like you. Thus, I have decided to exchange a few blows with you. After all, it has been a long time since I last fought. Those people are not worthy of me fighting. Only you are qualified, Archbishop Felix said calmly, a look of admiration on his face. Among the younger generation in the West, there were not many experts like Lin Fei. Archbishop Felix finally understood why this person was the only one who remained calm when the expressions of those Chinese experts changed. Clearly, he had absolute confidence in his own strength. Your strength is indeed not bad. I feel that it would be better for you to summon an angel. With your strength, I believe that you should be able to summon a 10-winged angel or a 12-winged angel. That would make the fight more interesting. Lin Fei said seriously, otherwise, dealing with you would be no different from dealing with an ant. Lin Fei, you are a death's door, yet you still dare to boast shamelessly to our archbishop. Later on, I will definitely let you know what regret is, Irina said fiercely. Lin Fei agreed with these words. Don't worry. Because of what you said, I won't kill you after I capture you. Instead, I will teach you some tricks. I guarantee that you will be satisfied and will never forget them. As he spoke, Lin Fei revealed a set of white teeth and a smile spread across his face. When this smile fell into Irina's eyes, it was as though she had seen the smile of a demon. She felt uneasy all over. You dare! Irina didn't even have the confidence to speak. After all, she still hadn't forgotten what had happened a few days ago. In addition to the fact that the experts of the Radiant Church couldn't capture Lin Fei, she naturally had other thoughts. Irina, you must calm down. Even if Lin Fei is really strong, can he be stronger than the Archbishop? The Archbishop will definitely be able to capture Lin Fei. Irina kept encouraging herself in her heart. When the time comes, I must ruthlessly torture this Lin Fei and let him know that the consequences of speaking nonsense are extremely miserable. Holy storm! Archbishop Felix finally made his move. He took a step forward and punched out, causing a huge storm of holy light to form. This storm swept out and instantly enveloped Lin Fei. The Archbishop is indeed different from others when he makes his move. He indeed has the strength to oversee a branch of the Radiant Church. I have learned something new. The moment the holy storm appeared, Lin Fei was enveloped by it. This holy light was like a blade that continuously attacked Lin Fei's defense. Bang, 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 bang. Loud sounds rang out continuously. This move displayed Archbishop Felix's valiant strength. If someone else had said this to Felix, they might have felt a sense of accomplishment. However, Felix was facing Lin Fei, and he could clearly sense that Lin Fei's defense was as solid as a mountain. Felix's holy storm was actually unable to tear apart Lin Fei's defense in an instant, giving Lin Fei a chance to speak. Seems like I have still underestimated this kid. He is even more powerful than I had imagined. If the younger generation of China were all experts like him, then our Western world would be in danger. Archbishop Felix's thoughts were far-sighted and thorough. Since the holy storm is unable to tear apart your defense, then what about this? Archbishop Felix coldly snorted. The holy storm soared into the sky and condensed into a huge war hammer. With a grab, it landed in Felix's hand. With the war hammer in hand, the void shook. Everyone could feel a dangerous, or a hammer of holy light. With a loud rumble, the hammer smashed down. Felix did not believe that Lin Fei would dare to take it head-on. This was the power of holy light, and its might was several times stronger than the previous holy storm. It was a killer move. Miao Shu House. Chapter 4232. P.S. I've had a toothache all day, so I clenched my teeth and wrote a new chapter. Archbishop Philip's attack was indeed very ferocious. It could be said that anyone who encountered this move would treat it with caution. Archbishop Philip displayed his super powerful means as soon as he made a move. No matter who it was, under this warhammer, they would either be injured or severely injured, losing their combat effectiveness. As soon as the warhammer slammed down, invisible ripples surged out in all directions. These ripples were condensed from the power of the holy light. They seemed peaceful, but in fact, they were full of fierce and overbearing power. It spread out in circles, and it was tantamount to a testing method. Archbishop Philip also wanted to see how Lin Fei was going to resolve his attack. He used this move to deal with many experts. Every time, he could basically defeat the opponent and even kill several on the spot. So he really wanted to know what level Lin Fei's strength had reached. After the ripples rushed out, they immediately impacted Lin Fei's body shield. Everyone heard a loud bang, 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 bang sound. This sound kept on ringing, and it was very sharp, as if it was exploding in their hearts. The ripples' attack was the first round. The war hammer fiercely bombarded down. A looming figure of an archangel appeared in it. Lin Fei was still very calm in the face of the warhammer, and raised his hand to block it. His palm was not too big, and it met the warhammer head-on. A loud rumbling sound. Boundless power surged down. Lin Fei's surroundings were quickly attacked by the power, and large cracks exploded. The terrifying power instantly drowned Lin Fei in this warhammer. Archbishop Philip reached out and grabbed the air, and another warhammer slammed down. He knew that he would take advantage of the situation. If the first hammer was not enough, then the second one. It seemed that Lin Fei could not withstand the power of his two hammers. There was another loud, rumbling sound. Only then did Archbishop Philip stop. There was a trace of pride in his expression, but his eyes kept falling within the range of the attack. Don't look at his casual use of the two warhammers, but in fact the consumption was very large. It was also the strongest method that the Archbishop could use without using the power of the Archangel. If it was someone else, Archbishop Philip might not do this. But the person in front of him was Lin Fei, who easily blocked the attack of the Light Church's experts. Archbishop Philip naturally had to be heavy-handed. Otherwise, how could he take down this Lin Fei? The dust gradually dispersed. A figure stood in the original place and did not move. His surroundings were full of potholes, but there was nothing under his feet. Lin Fei had a faint smile on his face. Archbishop, I told you, your power is still lacking. It seems that you don't believe my words. In that case, I'll let you summon the Archangel yourself. A loud buzzing sound rang out. A tyrannical sword Qi slashed down from the sky. This sword Qi was at least 100 meters long. As it slashed down, everyone's expression changed greatly. Archbishop Philip roared, "Let's go!" At the same time, he stepped on the ground, and a huge holy light emerged, condensing into an archangel, blocking in front of him. Those experts of the Light Church were already pale with fear when facing this 100 meters long sword. Before the sword light arrived, all of them were frightened by it. With a loud boom, the huge sword light slashed down and directly exploded on the ground where they were. A huge crack ran through the front and back. Under the power of the sword, the experts of the Light Church were blown away one by one. After landing on the ground, their bodies were full of sword wounds. In that instant, They were attacked by countless swords. They were full of holes, and each of them was only left with breath. He can actually cast 100 meters long sword. Irina, the saintess candidate, was also blown away by the sword. At the critical moment, she summoned the archangel again, but this time the archangel was destroyed by the sword as soon as it came out. Even her whole body was blown away, and she was no longer the saintess. Archbishop, what do you think of my sword slash? It's 100 meters long, not much inferior to your warhammer. Lin Fei stood with his hands behind his back. Now you should know that my words were not wrong. If you don't summon the archangel, you are not my opponent. If you summon the archangel, you still have the ability to fight. Archbishop Philip was smashed on the ground, and there was a big pit around him. Blood flowed down from the corner of his mouth and dyed his clothes red. Archbishop Philip now felt pain all over his body. He didn't know how many bones in his body were broken. He looked at Lin Fei not far away, and his complexion kept changing. I didn't expect that your strength would be so tyrannical. Then I can't let you leave the Light Church. With a person like you will be the biggest enemy of our Light Church in the future. Archbishop Philip was shocked, but he also realized that he must kill this person on the spot. You want to see the archangel? Then I will do as you wish. Archbishop Philip coldly snorted, made a hand seal, and quickly summoned the archangel. In fact, he knew that if he didn't summon the archangel, he would not be Lin Fei's opponent. No one in the entire Light Church could be his opponent. Only by summoning the archangel would he have the ability to fight with the opponent. Although summoning the archangel required a lot of price, Archbishop Philip had no other choice. The person in front of him must be killed. Once he killed this person, even if he had to pay some price, it was still quite worth it. A sacred light pillar shrouded from the sky and fell on the top of the Light Church's mountain. The light pillar was as bright as day. Archbishop Philip, you haven't summoned this lord for a long time. I remember it should be 3 years. I didn't expect you to summon me again. Who are you going to deal with this time? On the top of the Light Church's mountain, a 12-winged archangel appeared. Compared to the 12-winged archangel, the aura of the 8-winged archangel was completely different. One was like a small mountain, the other was like a huge mountain with the pressure of Mount Tai. As expected of an archbishop, you are indeed different. You can actually summon a 12-winged archangel with your own consciousness. Not bad, not bad. I am quite satisfied. Lin Fei smiled, very satisfied. Archbishop Philip lowered his head, his expression dignified and sacred. Lord Hart, he is a mysterious expert from the distant east. I am not his opponent, so I ask Lord Hart to take action and suppress him. Otherwise, this person will become a great threat to the Church of Light in the future, Archbishop Philip said. Book Guest House Reading Website. Chapter 40, 233. Archbishop Felix was very respectful towards Hart, not daring to utter a single word. The gaze of the great 12-winged angel called Hart suddenly turned cold, and he looked at Lin Fei, who was not far away. To be able to make Archbishop Felix say such words, you, a Chinese expert, should be proud. Seeing that your strength is not bad, I will send you to the heavens with my divine technique, so that you will know the power of our Western world's divine technique. Hart suddenly started chanting. God said, let there be light. God said, let there be darkness. Hence, darkness and light are both here. While Hart was chanting, all the light experts present could not help but prostrate on the ground. Their faces were filled with sincerity and holiness. Their earlier panic and uneasiness were replaced by incomparable holiness. Even Archbishop Felix's expression turned holy. At this moment, light suddenly rose from where Lin Fei was. It was as bright as day, so bright that almost everyone had to close their eyes. After the light, darkness appeared. It was so dark that one could not even see their own fingers. It was like the entrance to hell. Light and darkness alternated. Everything happened very quickly. However, only a few people could see some clues from this. This was because the alternating light and darkness were filled with great terror, causing their hair to stand on end. They were even more sincere towards Lord Hart. Archbishop Felix kept staring at the place where darkness and light alternated. He thought to himself, with Lord Hart making a move, Lin Fei should be dead for sure. He will never know the power of a great 12-winged angel. It is not something that can be defeated by martial arts. This was because a great 12-winged angel had grasped a divine technique. With just a thought, he could kill Lin Fei. Archbishop Felix had seen such a scene countless times. It had long since become a habit of his. Whenever he summoned a great 12-winged angel, the other party would definitely be killed due to their lack of strength. There had never been anyone who could survive in the hands of the great 12-winged angel Hart. Archbishop Felix, in the future, don't look for me for such trivial matters. It is too unchallenging. You can't even block my divine technique, and you still dare to barge into our Church of Light. I don't know what's wrong with your brain. Hart shot a cold glance at Archbishop Felix. Felix understands. I won't make such a small mistake again. Archbishop Felix lowered his head. As long as Lin Fei was killed by Hart, nothing else mattered. He had never seen anyone who could survive a divine technique. Lin Fei suffered the same result. Hey, you, aren't you a little too full of yourself? You even called that a divine technique. But why do I feel like it's not that powerful? At this moment, a voice rang out with a hint of mockery in it. The original place had already turned into a pile of rubble. However, Lin Fei was still perfectly fine. He was still smiling, a faint smile on his face. But at this moment, when Archbishop Felix and the others saw that smile, they couldn't help but feel their scalps go numb. They were in disbelief. It's impossible for you to survive a divine technique. That's a divine technique, a technique that only a god can use. It can kill someone from 1,000 miles away without leaving a trace. Archbishop Felix found it hard to accept. It was obvious that Lin Fei was only slightly stronger than him. So how could he resist Hart's attack? Moreover, Hart had used a divine technique, so it was impossible for him to say that Hart had gone easy on him. Hart's originally disdainful expression also turned into a smile. No wonder Archbishop Felix considered you to be a future calamity for the Radiant Church. You really have some skills to actually be able to withstand my divine technique. Lin Fei laughed loudly. Your technique is called a divine technique, but it's nothing more than a spell. Do you really think that everyone doesn't know about it? It's just that your technique is a bit stronger, that's all. In my eyes, it really isn't much. Hart's pupils shrank slightly. A strange expression could be seen on his face. This guy actually knows about magic. Could it be that he also came down from above? No, I've never heard of anyone being able to come down. He must have read through those ancient books, or perhaps his master told him. Archbishop Felix roared, Lin Fei, you are insulting the Radiant Church, insulting our God. God cannot be blasphemed. Lin Fei laughed loudly once again. This kind of archangel dares to call himself God? I wonder if you've asked me for my permission. Buzz! 100-meter-long sword light suddenly slashed down. Archbishop Felix, I feel that you are too long-winded. It would be better for you to lie down and calm down. The 100-meter-long sword light slashed down once again. Archbishop Felix's expression changed on the spot. Lord Hart, save me. Previously, when Archbishop Felix had blocked the sword, he could already feel how powerful the sword was. The second sword slashed down, and Archbishop Felix had no confidence in blocking it. After all, there was still a difference in strength between the two of them. Impudent, you actually dare to injure a member of the Radiant Church in front of me? Do you even put me Hart in your eyes? Hart sneered, and with a flick of his finger, a holy light covered Archbishop Felix's body. At the same time, the two wings on his back instantly swept out like long blades. When I, Lin Fei, want to deal with someone, there has never been anyone who can stop me. The huge sword light suddenly condensed into a single point. This point was condensed into 100-meter long sword light. Kacha! The holy light defense shattered. This point pierced through Archbishop Felix's forehead. Countless sword lights instantly exploded from within Archbishop Felix's body, turning his body into a hornet's nest. Archbishop Felix's eyes were lifeless, and with a plop he fell to the ground. Hart's attack instantly missed, leaving a huge crack on the ground before he retracted his attack. Look, I am a man of my words. I said that I would kill an archbishop in front of you, so I killed an archbishop. Now it's your turn. I am quite interested in your identity as an archangel, especially since your wings can be used as roasted wings. I think they should taste pretty good. After all, I have never tasted such a huge bird's wing before. Lin Fei chuckled. This attack from Lin Fei caused Hart's expression to change. To be able to instantly condense his strength into a ball, and then take the opportunity to unleash it. Such a technique was something that even Hart could not easily accomplish. This was no ordinary technique. Hart decided to ignore Felix's words for now. His gaze paused on Archbishop Felix's corpse for a moment before falling back onto Lin Fei. Kid, who exactly are you? If you tell me where you came from, I might spare your life. Hart said coldly, this is your only chance. Chapter 40:234. In the beginning, Hart had utilized his divine technique, wanting to kill this expert from the Far East. Unexpectedly, his divine technique had been ineffective. Instead, his opponent had seen through him. His divine technique was not a true divine technique. Rather, it was a magic technique. Not only that, but he had also used a magic technique to kill Archbishop Felix right before his eyes. For a moment, Hart was unable to figure out his opponent's origins. What gave him the courage to go up against Archbishop Felix? Was he not afraid that Hart would kill him? You are not qualified to be a great 12-winged angel. You are too timid to be frightened by a minor technique of mine. Aren't you afraid of losing face if news of this spreads? Lin Fei laughed. Hart raised his eyelids, a ferocious glint flashing in his eyes. Kid, since you are unwilling to speak, I will personally search your memories and see who is behind you. Hart instantly transformed into a beam of white light as he pounced forward. With a thought, he arrived before Lin Fei. His wings swept out like two blades. Hart's attack missed in the blink of an eye. His speed is actually faster than mine. Hart's heart trembled as his attack missed. After him, his wings flapped continuously, slashing out without respite. Bang, bang, bang. Everywhere the wings passed, explosions rang out. Many of the Radiant Church's experts had already been seriously injured. Under the attacks of the wings, they were simply unable to withstand it and died on the spot. Hart, look at yourself. These are people from your Radiant Church. No, they should be your believers. Now that you have killed them, don't you feel any shame? Lin Fei's figure kept moving forward. Every time he moved, the wings would follow. However, each time, the wings would be slower by half a beat. Not a single one of the wings managed to hit Lin Fei. On the contrary, the Radiant Church's experts were the unlucky ones. They were continuously killed by Hart. You are doing this on purpose. Hart had never thought of killing these believers. After all, the Radiant Church was established because of these believers. As archangels, they were existences of God, leading these believers and setting goals for them. But now, all of his followers were dying under his wings. Hart couldn't hold back any longer. His eyes narrowed as hatred filled his heart. He wanted nothing more than to kill Lin Fei with a single glance. Brat, don't run if you have the guts. Let's fight." This short exchange made Hart realize one thing. This kid was actually faster than him. He was an archangel. Although he wasn't the type that excelled in speed, he wasn't slow either. But in front of Lin Fei, he was actually slower by a beat and missed every time. That was the most unacceptable thing to do. You want to fight just because you say so? That's so boring. It's not easy to meet a great 12-winged angel. No matter what, I have to sneak around. Moreover, this is my first time coming to the Church of Light. It's so boring to leave like this. Lin Fei was still moving. Finally, he jumped onto a big rock and said with a smile. These words made Hart quite angry. In the Radiant Church's territory, he didn't dare use too much power. He didn't want to accidentally destroy the Radiant Church's branch. It would be fine if he destroyed the church, but if he accidentally killed these believers, it would be a huge loss. Didn't they see that many of the Radiant Church's believers were already dead? Looking at their faces, they all had fear and unease. It was obvious that Lin Fei's words had hit the mark. Holy light barrier, there is nowhere to hide. In order to prevent Lin Fei from playing tricks again, Archangel Hart directly used the power of holy light to cast a huge barrier. This barrier was completely made of holy light. It was filled with holy light runes, forming a special world. Welcome, Hua Xia Kid, to my holy light barrier. You're the one who made me use this holy light barrier. You're the first person I've opened it in all these years. Hart's entire aura had changed quite a bit. Clearly, casting the holy light barrier wasn't as easy as he had imagined. It consumed a lot of energy. In my holy light barrier, you can't absorb spiritual energy from the world to replenish your energy. I don't believe you can still jump around, Hart said. So this is the holy light barrier, as expected of an archangel. The power of holy light within your body is incomparably dense. You can even create this kind of barrier. However, this barrier isn't very small. It's too stingy. Lin Fei smiled as he looked at the holy light barrier. There wasn't the slightest bit of unease on his face. He was still very calm. You dare say that the holy light barrier is too small? Hart almost spat out a mouthful of blood. It should be known that not everyone could condense a holy light barrier. At the very least, 8-winged angels and 10-winged angels couldn't do it. Only 12-winged angels could. Then I'll show you the power of the holy light barrier. Hart sneered. God said I will imprison you. The holy light barrier instantly fluctuated and a power enveloped Lin Fei's body. No, it was more like an imprison on Lin Fei's body. The power came from the holy light barrier. It could even be said that the power spread throughout the holy light barrier. The one controlling it was Hart. Hart immediately cast the imprison spell to imprison Lin Fei within the holy light barrier. Are you surprised? Shocked? Within this holy light barrier, I am truly an invincible existence. Hart spread his wings and landed before Lin Fei. You are the most arrogant and courageous fellow I've ever met. I wonder what else you have to say for yourself. One holy light, runes after another landed on Lin Fei's body, circling around him. Every time a holy light runes landed on his body, Lin Fei's aura would weaken by a lot. Also, this holy light seal seals your strength. Your body is stronger than I imagined. It just so happens that I'm lacking a tool in the Radiant Church. I can use you to save me a lot of trouble. After all, it's been a long time since I've entered a human's body. Although your body is Chinese, it doesn't affect me at all. Hart was very confident in his own strength within the holy light barrier. He wasn't afraid of Lin Fei causing any trouble. He could suppress something with just a thought. How could there be so much trouble? Lin Fei grinned and said, The holy light boundary is pretty good. It has both imprisonment and sealing powers. However, I feel that your holy light boundary is still a little lacking. A hand stretched out without any warning, lifted it up and slapped down hard on Hart's face. A loud sound rang out. The earth shook. Heart directly smashed onto the ground. Countless cracks spread out, and the inside of the barrier turned into a huge pit with a bang. Heart fell into the pit as well. Bookhouse website. Chapter 40, 235. The ground crumbled. Something unexpected happened. The ground, which looked very sturdy, was now like a piece of tofu. With a loud rumble, Angel Heart fell all the way down. After a long time, a solid sound could be heard. Heart had fallen to the bottom of the valley. Lin Fei frowned slightly. Then he revealed a smile and jumped into the deep pit. At the same time, more than a dozen figures were chasing after someone. At this time, all of them stopped and looked at the place in front of them with a dumbfounded expression. Yi Zixuan also stopped and turned to look at the mountain, wondering if she had heard wrong. Did some expert attack the Radiant Church? Otherwise, how could something like this happen? Xue Xiaotian and Fan Tianxue were the same. They could feel the terrifying aura coming from the Radiant Church. If they encountered this terrifying aura, they wouldn't be able to resist and would be directly suppressed. Whether they could survive or not was unknown. Too scary, too scary. The Radiant Church actually has such an expert. Could it be a legendary archangel? Only an archangel has such strength. They more or less knew some inside information. For example, the existence of an archangel in the Western world. This was a rumor. They didn't believe in the existence of an archangel, but now they completely believed it. If an archangel didn't appear in the Radiant Church, how could there be such a huge commotion? That incomparably holy power was like the bright moon in the night. It was hard not to notice it. The only thing they couldn't understand was how the Radiant Church had an expert that could make an archangel act. Moreover, it was such a huge commotion. As for Lin Fei, he was completely ignored by them. Lin Fei was a lot stronger than them, but right now he was being chased by the Radiant Church and was even trapped. It was impossible for him to burst out with such a fighting strength. The three of them thought that this was an opportunity. Without saying anything, they quickly flew outside. As for the matter of Lin Fei, they would arrange for someone to inquire about it later. Right now, it was more important to survive. After Lin Fei jumped into the pit, he continued to fall. After a few minutes, he reached the depths of the ground. Hua, 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 hua. When his feet stepped on a huge rock, a blazing heat wave swept over and hit his body. However, it was blocked by his protective power. The temperature was frighteningly high. In the distance, Archangel Heart was in a sorry state. After all, he did not have a body of flesh and blood, but was condensed from pure power. Now his entire body seemed a little blurry. It was clear that Lin Fei's attack just now had caused Archangel Heart to suffer greatly. Hee, I didn't expect the Radiant Church to have this kind of place. If I'm not wrong, there should be a vicious beast suppressed deep underground. Lin Fei said as he looked around. Great Angel Heart was indeed injured, and his injuries were not light at all. That slap had caused an endless amount of power to explode in his body. Even though his holy light defense was extremely strong, it was still unable to withstand the power of the slap, and he was blasted quite heavily. Upon hearing the man's words, Angel Heart subconsciously turned to a certain direction. It was a land of lava that was suffused with magma. The magma was constantly bubbling. Just a single glance was enough to make one feel a blazing hot aura that could instantly evaporate a person. Lin Fei did not expect his luck to be so good. All he did was slap Great Angel Heart, and he actually went all the way to the depths of the ground. What was even more unexpected was that the depths of the ground was actually a land of magma. This magma was hotter than any other magma. If an ordinary martial artist fell down, not to mention touching the magma, the high temperature here could easily evaporate a martial artist, leaving not even a skeleton behind. After seeing the magma, Lin Fei knew that he was not far from the giant lizard. Now, with Great Angel Heart's reaction, Lin Fei was even more certain that the giant lizard was here. You, who are you? Do you intend to violate the Treaty of the Gods? Great Angel Heart stared at him. Treaty of the Gods? Do you really think of yourself as a god? Lin Fei laughed loudly. He took a step forward and used a god ability that allowed him to cross levels. He directly stepped in front of Great Angel Heart, raised his hand, and slapped Great Angel Heart's face. Great Angel Heart raised his hand to block, and a mountain-like force pressed down on him. His entire body was instantly smashed into the burning magma pool, and a large amount of green smoke came out. What do you think of my slap? I think your body should be able to withstand a few slaps from me. Otherwise, it would be too boring. Lin Fei smiled as if he had done something very normal. The power of this slap was even more terrifying than the previous one. After all, Great Angel Heart did not have a real body. It was condensed from the power of holy light. It was more like a projection that came down with his will. After being injured, Great Angel Heart's power was very weak. I alone am not a match for Lin Fei. I don't know where this guy came from. If this was my territory, I naturally wouldn't be afraid of this guy. But this is the Western world, not my base. If I want to defeat this guy, I'll have to release that guy. Great Angel Heart's eyes flashed. Although that guy isn't easy to deal with, it should have some effect on this guy. As long as I can delay this guy, I'll have a chance to injure him. When that time comes, I'll take over his body and look through his memories. I'll definitely gain a lot. Great Angel Heart formed a seal with both hands, and a huge mark was formed. It was actually in the shape of a hexagram, and it blasted towards a direction. Lin Fei, I must make you stay in the Church of Light today. I alone am not a match for you, but what if I add this guy? After the hexagram flew out, it shined with a dazzling light, and it floated above the magma pool. With a loud rumble, pillars of light, no, pillars of fire, shot up into the sky. These fire pillars were all formed by raging flames. A total of 99 of them appeared above the magma. With the appearance of these 99 pillars, a savage and violent aura rushed out from the raging flames. Ha 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 ha, I finally smell blood again. A huge head grew out of the land of raging flames. Bookhouse website, Chapter 40-236. This head was extremely huge. It looked like a huge room. Its entire body was crimson. As soon as this huge head appeared, the surrounding magma started to churn. Its eyes, which were the size of a door, kept turning and emitting a chilling aura. When this pair of eyes looked at Heart and Lin Fei, they contained a terrifying, murderous glint. Heart's expression was calm as he pointed at Lin Fei. Ben Lai, go and defeat this kid right now. If you listen to me and successfully suppress this kid, I'll let you enjoy a week of pleasure. Otherwise, I'll make sure you suffer the pain of being burned alive. Heart's hands formed a seal, and his huge head started to struggle, causing magma to spurt out. If you're smart, you probably don't want to experience the pain of being burned alive again. Your task now is very simple. Suppress this kid. Given your strength, you can definitely do it. As a great 12-winged angel, Heart naturally had an incomparable advantage over ordinary people. He also knew that Benbli's life and death were in his hands. If it weren't for the fact that Lin Fei was exceptionally strong, he wouldn't have let Benbli out. This was a sly dragon, so he had to be careful in everything he did. Fortunately, Benbli's body was still sealed, so Heart could control him and not worry about him causing any trouble. Is it this kid? As you wish. The gigantic head was called Benbli. His voice was very loud and clear. Every word he spoke was like a huge bell, rumbling continuously. Whoosh! The huge head opened and spat out a mouthful of fire. The fire was dark red. Within the red, there was a hint of purplish gold. Heart's face lit up when he saw the color of the fire. All these years, Benbli had been imprisoned in the depths of the underground magma. However, his strength hadn't been crippled. Instead, it had increased by quite a bit. Great imprisonment. The fire that was originally aimed at Lin Fei instantly changed direction and blasted towards Heart. At that moment, Angel Heart panicked because he found that he couldn't move. That power had seeped into his body and quickly formed a special seal, making him unable to resist at all. The next second, the raging flames landed on Angel Heart's body, causing him to tremble and smoke to rise from his body. Heart, you didn't expect this, did you? I've long wanted to burn you to death. How about I let you have a taste of my dragon flames now? Angel Heart's eyes widened. He couldn't accept what he was seeing. Ben Bly, you've actually broken through. You've even successfully cultivated the Dragon Clan's great imprisonment technique. Aren't you afraid that the Radiant Church will kill you again? Ben Bly laughed heartily. Heart, do you really think that I've been honest all these years? You're wrong. I've long since used my Dragon Clan's inherited cultivation method to completely disintegrate this seal. As for why you didn't discover it, that's because I've simulated the seal. How could you possibly know about my Dragon Clan's divine ability? Today, I'll use this dragon flame to thoroughly burn you to death. It was a sudden scene. Lin Fei was shocked. He didn't expect that the sealed lizard would actually break the seal. Lin Fei could see that this guy's strength should have reached the 7th or 8th level of Qi disciple. Compared to the 12-winged angel, Heart, he was a lot stronger. Especially since this flame was the real deal, it had a very strong effect against this kind of projection. Under normal circumstances, Lin Fei naturally wouldn't stop it. However, Heart had been summoned by Archbishop Felix with great difficulty. It was unknown when the next time would be. How could Lin Fei let this opportunity slip by so easily? That big lizard? I think you should wait a bit longer. This great angel Heart is mine. He is a rare great angel. To burn him to death, just like that, would be such a waste. Lin Fei laughed. What a waste. Lin Fei laughed. Puny human, I hate people like you the most. I'm not a big lizard, I'm a dragon. Ben Bly turned around and spat out a mouthful of dragon flame. The raging flames ignited the magma, turning it into a sea of fire. Ben Bly didn't like this human kid. His puny body contained puny power. Back in the day, he had killed countless warriors who wanted to kill him. Even after so many years, humans were still puny existences in Ben Bly's eyes. I said, this Archangel Heart belongs to me, so it's mine. No one can take it away from me. Besides, you're just a big lizard. Lin Fei's figure came next to Heart. Human, shut up. If you dare call me a big lizard, I'll burn you to death. The last thing Ben Bly liked was being called a lizard. Apparently, this came from the Eastern world. Ben Bly hated it. Grand imprisonment. Ben Bly roared and unleashed another grand imprisonment, spitting out a mouthful of dragon flame. Archangel Heart was burned by the dragon flame. He kept struggling, but he couldn't break free. He naturally knew that the grand imprisonment of the dragon race was very powerful, but at this time he couldn't break free. He had underestimated its power. Lin Fei, if you help me escape, we'll join forces and kill him. I'm willing to give you all of his dragon blood without hesitation. Archangel Heart had no choice but to look for Lin Fei. Lin Fei found it funny. Heart, so you have moments of panic. Looks like losing your projection will be a huge blow to your vitality. If that's the case, why don't you give your body to me? I can use your energy to raise a Grand Duke. Isn't that a good thing? Archangel Heart glared at him. Lin Fei, don't you dare. There's nothing I, Lin Fei, wouldn't dare to do. Lin Fei laughed. Countless flying swords appeared behind him. These flying swords turned into a huge wheel of swords. With a boom, they pierced forward. Archangel Heart panicked and became a target. With a whoosh, the sword pierced through Archangel Heart. Boundless power exploded in his body. Lin Fei reached out and grabbed. His 5 fingers spread out and enveloped the area. The power that was about to dissipate was instantly controlled again. It became incomparably condensed and spun. Well, Archangel Heart, I'll accept you. Now let's talk about me and you. Ben Bly's huge body also appeared. You really should die. Lin Fei put away the energy ball. Do you need freedom? Wonderful Book House. Chapter 42-37. Do you need freedom? Lin Fei's words provoked Ben Bly. Don't think I don't know. Actually, you were just putting on a show to scare Hart. But in my eyes, your method is too crude. Ben Bly's enormous body appeared. His eyes were as large as copper tombs as he stared fixedly at Lin Fei. Behind him, his tail swept out like a steel whip. Rumble. Wherever the huge tail passed, nothing was spared. Don't think that just because you have a huge body, you are so great. In my eyes, you are just a big lizard. With a smile, Lin Fei raised his hand and made a grabbing motion, landing on the tail. A cruel smile appeared in Ben Bly's eyes. I hate it when people call me a big lizard. You deserve to die. You deserve to die 10,000 times over. Hua, 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 hua. The steel whip-like tail suddenly emitted a large amount of lightning. It flickered and filled the sky with lightning. Lin Fei's hand was still on Ben Bly's tail. He raised his hand and shook it. A loud, rumbling sound echoed. Wave after wave of mountainous power exploded within Bablay's body. The sudden surge of power was hard for Ben Bly to accept. Death roll, let go of me. Ben Bly's huge body rolled towards Lin Fei like a mountain. That tremble just now had caused Ben Bly to suffer a huge loss. Ben Bly unleashed a ruthless attack. Lin Fei released the force in his hand and sent Ben Bly flying. Ben Bly was like a round ball that kept crashing into the lava and rocks. In the blink of an eye, he had rolled far away. His huge body was submerged in the lava, revealing only his furious eyes. Seems like you still don't know what kind of situation you are in. I have to tell you myself. Lin Fei stepped forward, the corners of his mouth curling up into a faint smile. I, Ben Bly, am a proud dragon. No one can defeat me, not even you. Ben Bly roared in anger. It flew out of the magma and stood in the air. Then it spat out flames at Lin Fei. This time, the flames were even more terrifying than the last. They had turned into a dark red color and emitted the terrifying aura of a ferocious spirit. Dragonification. Lin Fei snorted softly, and scales appeared all over his body. In the blink of an eye, they covered Lin Fei's body. Lin Fei, who wasn't that tall to begin with, instantly grew several times larger after being wrapped in the scales. He looked like a small giant. A formidable dragon might burst out from his body. Ben Bly's expression changed greatly, and his body fell into the magma. Ben Bly lifted his tall head in disbelief. Dragon's might. This is the true might of a dragon. You're just a human. How can you unleash the might of a dragon? Lin Fei had already broken through the flames and was about to pounce on him. I already told you that you're a big lizard. You still don't believe me? With your strength, you're really weak in front of me. Everything else aside, just that tail of yours alone doesn't have any strength at all. Let's see what the true tail whip of a mystical dragon is. Lin Fei dragged a tail behind him. With a swoosh, the tail swept out like a spear. With a bang, Ben Bly was sent flying and crashed heavily into the ground. I wonder how this attack feels. Another tail whip of a mystical dragon came crashing down, smashing heavily into Ben Bly's body. Ben Bly screamed again. He felt that he was too weak in front of his opponent. The pride that belonged to a dragon was almost gone. He couldn't even muster up any thoughts of resistance. Who are you? Ben Bly kept asking the same question. Based on his many years of experience, the person before him was completely human. He was definitely not a dragon. But now Ben Bly was afraid and uneasy. Ben Bly had seen many dragons before, but he couldn't find any that looked like this fellow. However, the genuine might of a dragon on his body wasn't something that just anyone could unleash. After trying out the tail whip of a mystical dragon, let's see what dragon flames are. Lin Fei laughed. He opened his mouth and spat out a stream of purple heavenly fire. The purple heavenly fire was like an umbrella as it shone on Ben Bly's body. Aha! Ben Bly's huge eyes were filled with fear and unease. His huge body trembled as he tumbled about on the magma. The purple heavenly fire contained a terrifying power. Not only did it tear apart his defenses, but it also seeped into his flesh and reached his soul. Dragon flame, this is the true dragon flame. Why is your dragon flame and your draconic might stronger than mine? This is impossible. I am the strongest colossal dragon. I am the great Ben Bly. Ben Bly roared as he struggled, but he still couldn't break free from the purple heavenly fire's attack. Its struggle became weaker and weaker, and its huge body fell directly into the magma, gasping for breath. This is the true might of a dragon and dragon rock. I wonder how you feel about it. I have many tricks up my sleeves. Why don't you give it a try? Lin Fei stood in front of Ben Bly and stepped on his huge head. Just say the word, and I will fulfill your wish. Spare me, Lord Dragon God. I was blind and made a mistake. Ben Bly's pupils constricted. He finally knew what kind of dragon this Huashuman had transformed into was. It was the legendary Eastern Dragon God. Only an Eastern Dragon God could have such terrifying might. Ben Bly had read in an ancient book that the Western dragons could be traced back to the ancient times. In fact, they originated from the mysterious East. This was because the mysterious Eastern Dragon God existed. The Dragon God roamed the skies, leaving behind his bloodline in the world. The giant lizards were the bloodline of the Dragon God. Their ancestors rewrote history, mistakenly believing that they were the one and only existence in the Western world. Year after year, no one bothered to look back at what happened before the Ancient Age anymore. They believed that they were the one and only Western dragon in the Western world. They were even recognized by the entire Earth. But now, Ben Bly finally knew how powerful the Dragon God was. Their powers were not even worth mentioning in front of a real Dragon God. They could not even exert half of their power. Ben Bly wanted to fight the Dragon God. Now it seemed that he was the biggest fool. He actually dared to go against the Dragon God. How stupid was that? Only someone with guts could come up with such an idea. Looks like you're not stupid after all. You know about the existence of the Eastern Dragon God. Do you believe me now when I said that I would return your freedom? With a single kick, Lin Fei sent Bumbly's huge body flying. Ben Bly fell into the magma once again. Lord Dragon God, spare me! Ben Bly screamed in pain. Spare me. Please retract the dragon flame. I can't take it anymore. Wonderful Book House. Chapter 4238. The purple heavenly fire that Lin Fei unleashed was no ordinary fire. It was the true fire of immortal cultivation. In fact, its power was on par with the true dragon flame, perhaps even stronger. How could a large lizard like Ben Bly withstand the attack of the purple heavenly flower? Lin Fei didn't say anything. He just watched. Ben Bly struggled and begged for mercy until he was gasping for breath and on the verge of death. Lin Fei waved his hand and retracted the purple heavenly fire. Now you're convinced. Actually, there was no need for Lin Fei to ask any questions. Ben Bly was thoroughly convinced by Kiran. In front of this Lord Dragon God, he had lost all his advantages. Just one dragon flame and one dragon's force was enough to keep him pinned to the ground. If Ben Bly could not even see this, he would not have lived until now. I'm convinced. I'm convinced. I'm convinced. Lin Fei teased. I thought you weren't convinced. If you're not convinced, feel free to continue. I still have many tricks up my sleeves. I guarantee that you'll continue to experience despair. Ben Bly's pupils shrunk as he shook his huge head. Sir, I'm really convinced. I don't dare to have any more thoughts. I only hope that Lord Dragon God will spare my life. I really can't hold on any longer. Even if Ben Bly's physical defense was strong, under the purple heavenly flower and the pincer attack from both inside and outside. The only reason he could hold on until now was because of his strong vitality. If this were to happen again, Ben Bly would definitely not be able to hold on. It just so happens that I'm still lacking a mount in the Western world, so I'll reluctantly settle for one. Would you be willing to be my mount? Ben Bly had finally managed to deceive Hart, but he did not expect to fall into the hands of an even more ferocious person. Furthermore, he had to be made into a mount. This was a great humiliation. Ben Bly wanted to roar at the top of his lungs, but what he heard next instantly changed his mind. If you're willing to be my mount, I'll teach you the true Dragon Clan's cultivation method. In the future, if you cultivate it, there's hope that you'll become an existence like me in the future. Otherwise, a big lizard like you will never be able to break through the bottleneck, let alone become a true god. If you follow in my footsteps, you'll become a true dragon god. I believe that you have great potential. With that, the giant lizard, Ben Bly, was completely tempted. He knew that none of his ancestors had been able to reach such a high level. Once they reached the bottleneck, it didn't matter if it was 10 years, 50 years, 100 years, or even hundreds of years. It was impossible to break through this bottleneck. Now that he heard the other party's words, Ben Bly seemed to realize that the bloodline of their ancestors seemed to be suppressing them. I'm willing to be Sir Dragon God's mount and expand your territory. I'll be the first to burn anyone who's not convinced. Ben Bly opened his mouth and spat out a ball of flame, blasting away a large area of lava. He looked very obedient. Lin Fei formed a seal with both hands and cast a restriction that landed on Ben Bly's head. Ben Bly's body swayed, and he fell head first. He could only feel something lingering in his mind that he couldn't get rid of. I've already planted a restriction in your mind. In this world, only I can undo this restriction. If you forcefully touch it, the consequences are very simple. You'll explode like a watermelon and become a mess of flesh and blood. I don't think a giant lizard like you can survive without a head. Lin Fei extended his hand and pointed. A Jingguang directly entered Ben Bly's mind. The eyes of Ben Bly, who was originally unwilling, suddenly lit up. That was because a cultivation technique had appeared in his mind. Dragon God technique. One look at the name and Ben Bly knew that this was a high-level cultivation method. Although this cultivation technique was only at the first 3 levels, it was still much stronger than what he was cultivating. Ben Bly felt that he was too happy. Although becoming someone else's mount was not a bad thing, at least he still had a chance to break through in the future. This was not something to be ashamed of. Thank you for your reward, sir. I, Ben Bly, will be your most loyal mount in the Western world. Lin Fei didn't believe that Ben Bly would reject the temptation of the Dragon God technique. Although the Dragon God technique was not a high-level cultivation method and sounded very powerful, it was still considered an ordinary cultivation method. But for Ben Bly, it was indeed a very high-level cultivation method. Just look at the giant lizard's cultivation realm. It was simply unimaginable. It was not hard for Lin Fei to imagine that there must have been a divine dragon who had given birth to the next generation and casually left behind a cultivation method. After all, the Western world was a foreign race. Leaving behind a cultivation method was enough. That was why none of these giant lizards were able to break through to a high realm. Now that Lin Fei had given Ben Bly the Dragon God technique, his strength would increase by a lot. At the very least, he would become the strongest existence in the history of the Western world. Now, I will help you remove the last seal in your body. From now on, you will be free. A sword light flew out from behind Lin Fei. With a wave of his finger, it rushed into Ben Bly's body. A loud rumbling sound could be heard. Ben Bly's body was covered with cracks and blood was flowing out. But Ben Bly wasn't afraid at all. On the contrary, he was excited. Thank you, sir, for helping me remove the seal. Now I am free. That damned Radiant Church. I will exterminate them now. After regaining his freedom, Ben Bly emitted a ruthless aura, stirring up the surging magma. He wanted to seek revenge on the Radiant Church. Lin Fei raised his hand, and the sword array condensed into a large sword, which slammed Ben Bly into the lava in an instant. Who told you to take revenge? With your current appearance, do you want the whole world to know about it? I still have a use for the Radiant Church. Lin Fei said, Your body is too big. Shrink down for me. After all, times have changed. Ben Bly didn't dare to get angry. Sir, I don't know the shape-shifting technique. Ben Bly said with a bitter smile. Trash. Truly trash. Lin Fei was helpless. He raised his hand and sent another ray of light into Ben Bly's mind. Immediately comprehend it. If you can't comprehend it in 3 days, I will kill you and take your blood. After all, the scales on your body and the dragon blood have some value. As for the rest, they are all cheap stuff. Nobody would want them even if you gave them away. A day later, under the drive of Lin Fei, Ben Bly finally succeeded in shape-shifting. The huge body instantly transformed into a bald, brawny man. This bald man had an ugly face and an ominous aura from head to toe. On top of that, he was 1 meter tall, which made him look like a small mountain. Every look and every movement he made would cause people to feel fear. Your appearance is not bad. You can be a hired thug. Chapter 40:239. The Church of Light was in a mess. Ever since Lord Hart fell into the depths of the earth, everyone had been waiting for him. Everyone believed that Lord Hart would be back soon. No one was a match for Lord Hart. After all, he was a 12-winged angel. The saddest thing was that Felix, the branch leader of the Church of Light, had been killed by Lin Fei just like that. The branch of the Church of Light was without a leader for a while. Left with no choice, the saintess in training, Irina, took over. After all, Irina was a saintess in training from the Church of Light. She wasn't weak and she could summon angels. Naturally, she had the right to temporarily lead the branch. After Irina obtained the approval of the other side, she quickly controlled the situation and stabilized the internal situation. The news of Archbishop Felix's death was tightly sealed, preventing the outside world from knowing. At the same time, the Church of Light was on guard internally. As for the few Chinese who had barged into the Church of Light, Irina temporarily gave up on killing them and called them back. Lord Hart will definitely be fine. With Lin Fei's strength, there's no way he's a match for the great 12-winged angels. They must be fighting underground, and the only thing I can do is guard these exits. Irina originally wanted to go underground to check out the situation, but the commotion underground was too terrifying. Irina didn't dare to go down. It wasn't that there weren't any experts from the Church of Light who went down. However, there wasn't any response and contact was lost. It was obvious that the situation underground was very intense. Even now, Irina hadn't completely digested Lin Fei. His strength was unfathomable. Even Archbishop Felix had been killed by him. Since when did the Church of Light suffer such a loss? More importantly, Lin Fei and the 12-winged angel Hart were locked in battle. Saintess, there hasn't been any movement for half a day. Could the victor have been decided? Or has Lord Hart already killed that kid? Irina stared at the entrance of the hole. Irina stared at the hole. Irina stared at this place as she also sensed the changes in it. There had indeed been no movement for half a day. A smile appeared on Irina's face as she said, "Looks like Master Hart has won. Lin Fei is immortal after all. He's no match for Angel Hart." The experts of the Radiant Church who were present all agreed with this statement. An archangel was an archangel after all. Furthermore, it was at the level of 2 billion. How could Lin Fei defeat it? To be able to last so long against the 2 billion Archangel Hart was already an impressive feat. Wait, something seems to be coming out. Suddenly, an expert of the Radiant Church said. Alina made a gesture, and everyone was on guard. If Lord Hart hadn't come out, attack immediately. Don't hold back. The Irinas were prepared. In the next second, a huge figure rushed out from the ground. Under this ferocious aura, they all felt a trace of fear and unease. There was a loud bang. The figure landed heavily on the ground, causing cracks to appear on the hard ground. Everyone's eyes were fixed on this figure. Alina was decisive. Everyone attack him together. This was because Alina did not recognize this person. He was not Hart nor Lin Fei. But no matter what, since he appeared in the Radiant Church's territory, he was an enemy of the Radiant Church. Let's fight first. There was a loud rumbling sound. More than a dozen experts of the Radiant Church attacked. The attack of more than a dozen experts of the Radiant Church was not ordinary. You guys still have the nerve to use such methods? The strong man laughed out loud. He leaped and instantly pounced on the nearest expert of the Radiant Church. With one punch, he punched through the expert of the Radiant Church. You see, trash is trash. Can't even withstand a single blow. The strong man laughed out loud and pounced on another expert. This time it was simpler and more violent. With a close combat charge, he smashed the expert of the Radiant Church into a pool of blood. You see, still trash. After killing 2 experts of the Radiant Church, and both of them were at the Xiantian realm, Irina, the saintess-in-waiting, was shocked. How could there be such an expert in the Radiant Church's branch? With one punch and one kick, he killed an Xiantian realm expert. Irina thought that this person's strength was ordinary. But now, she knew that this person was more terrifying than she had imagined. Everyone retreat. This person is a close combat expert. Don't let him get close to you. Irina quickly retreated, but the reaction of those people was a little slow. In fact, the strong man's speed was too fast. With one punch and one kick, he killed the experts of the Radiant Church. In a short period of time, except for 3 experts of the Radiant Church who escaped, the remaining experts were all dead. The strong man stared at Irina coldly. Being stared at like this, Irina felt a chill down her spine. Her heart sank. She thought that without Lin Fei, she would be able to suppress anyone with the experts of the Radiant Church. But now, it seemed that she had thought too much. What made Irina most uneasy was who this person was. The Radiant Church's branch had suffered heavy losses. Who the hell are you? Don't you know that killing so many experts of the Radiant Church will cause big trouble? The strong man laughed mischievously. Beauty, you should be glad that you are still alive. If not for the Lord's command, you would have died without a doubt. My fist would have been enough to blow your body apart. The Lord? Irina was smart enough to realize something. At this time, a figure rushed out from the ground and landed on the ground. Saintess Irina, your methods aren't bad. You actually managed to lead a branch of the Radiant Church's Radiant Experts. It's a pity that these Radiant Experts weren't much and were all killed by my people. I wonder if you want to experience the feeling of being killed? Lin Fei smiled, revealing his white teeth. You are still alive. Irina retreated 3 steps and looked at Lin Fei with a face full of fear. Ben Bly, the strong man, immediately rushed forward and punched and kicked the remaining 3 experts of the Radiant Church, killing them. Irina only saw a blur in front of her. The remaining 3 experts were also killed, and the surroundings became empty. As for the strong man, she didn't know where he went. Of course I am still alive. Thanks to you, I am still alive. For example, this strong man, his strength is not bad. He was also given to me by the Radiant Church. Lin Fei smiled. Now, I will give you 2 choices. Either you get killed by his fist, or you become the new president of the Radiant Church. I don't know which one you will choose. Chapter 4240. Irina was an ambitious candidate for the saintess position. With his bare fists, he killed the experts of the Church of Light one after another. His brute strength was incomparably vigorous and invulnerable. Irina knew that she was no match for this person. If they were to really fight, she would probably be killed within 2 or 3 moves. It would be very, very tragic. I know you are very strong, but the strength of the Church of Light is not something you can contend against. Do you know that the Pope of the Church of Light can summon the most powerful 18-winged archangel? Although Irina knew that she had to make a choice, she still wanted to see what Lin Fei had to say. If she was blindly brainless, then it would be a different story. How could Lin Fei not understand the meaning behind Irina's words? She clearly didn't think highly of him. Even if he helped her become the president of the Church of Light, it would only be for a short period of time. My lord, let me kill this guy with a single punch. Ben Bly coldly snorted. He clenched his huge fist. As long as Lin Fei gave the order, he would directly smash this saintess in training. In Ben Bly's eyes, this saintess in training strength was too weak. One punch would be enough to deal with her. Lin Fei shook his head. No rush, no rush. Irina, you are a smart woman. To be able to become a saintess in training naturally means that you are a seed of the Church of Light. However, do you think you have any hope of becoming a true saintess? I don't think you have the opportunity or the potential. However, if you have my support, then becoming the Pope in the future wouldn't be a difficult matter. What do you think? The words Pope appeared in Irina's mind. There was a huge change in her expression and a look in her eyes. His mind, which had been wavering for a long time, also began to become firm. As for the Pope you mentioned, even if he can summon an 18-winged archangel, so what? Killing him would be as easy as flipping a hand. The only thing you have to do is to choose or not to choose. It's that simple. I don't have time to waste on you. At worst, I will find another expert here. I believe that they would be more than happy to take charge of the Church of Light's branch. Also, you don't need to worry. Your position will be very secure. No one will be able to take it away from you, because I will leave Ben Bly behind to oversee things. No matter how many experts come, it won't matter. This time, Irina was truly tempted. She could tell that this burly man's strength was unfathomable. Even if there were 10 Irinas fighting against him, they wouldn't have any chance of winning. If Ben Blake were to stay here and help her oversee things, even though he would be suspected of spying on her, he could guarantee that she would be able to control the branch of the Church of Light. I, Irina, am willing to serve my lord, Irina said decisively without any hesitation. Lin Fei smiled faintly and said, You will be happy with the choice you made today. After all, it's a rare opportunity to make such a choice. Lin Fei couldn't be bothered to control Idna. Someone as smart as Idna would know what to do. Moreover, she still had Ben Bly. It was a bad-tempered dragon lizard. If Alina really had any ideas, Ben Blake would kill her at the first opportunity. I will give you half a day's time. Kill all the people of the Church of Light who don't recognize you. I will let Ben Bly help you. I want you to completely control the branch of the Church of Light, not just in name. Irina's heart skipped a beat. She immediately realized that this should be the first test. Half a day is too much. With his help, I will be able to completely control it in an hour at most. Then I will look at your results. Lin Fei then said to Ben Bly, As for Irina, kill whoever she wants to kill. But don't be too violent, be gentle. Irina's methods were indeed very powerful. She immediately gathered all the people of the Church of Light in the hall. Initially, many experts were dissatisfied with Irina's promotion, and they were secretly tempted to make a move. However, they couldn't resist the fact that this order was given by the higher-ups. However, everyone knew that Saintess Irina wouldn't stay here for a long time. Therefore, they chose to obey for the time being. But in their hearts, they more or less looked down on Irina. They still didn't hand over the authority in their hands. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that they agreed on the surface, but opposed on the surface. Because Irina had just ascended, she naturally didn't dare to bully these guys. She was worried that she would be secretly plotted against, so she didn't do anything to them. In front of everyone, Irina took out the evidence and angrily accused these people of secretly having connections with the Dark Church. This time, such a big movement was caused by these people secretly leaking information. Once the evidence was presented, these people refuted again and again. They believed that Irina had deliberately fabricated this matter. For Irina, she only needed a name. After all, this time, the Church of Light had suffered a disastrous loss. Even Archbishop Felix had fallen. Naturally, someone had to bear the responsibility. These people hadn't thought that Irina would be so decisive. They immediately decided to capture Irina. After all, she was just a saintess in training, that's all. Behind them were the higher-ups of the Church of Light's headquarters. When the time comes, no one would believe Irina's words. When they started to attack, Irina gave an order. The violent man, Ben Bly, also instantly attacked. With a wave of his hand, he instantly killed these people one by one. However, his actions were very violent. The people of the Church of Light's branch felt their scalp go numb. They couldn't bear to look straight at him. That fierce divine might was imprinted in their hearts. They couldn't forget it for a long time. Relying on this thunderous method, Irina cleaned up all the opposing forces. Then, she immediately took out a piece of evidence and sent it to the headquarters of the Church of Light. There were witnesses, and evidence. Without exception, they were the ones who did it. In addition, there were no witnesses, so these people died in vain. You are very good. Within an hour, you completely controlled the Church of Light's branch. Lin Fei was sitting in the small courtyard, quietly listening to Irina's report. It seems that I didn't make the wrong choice. You are worthy of my nurturing. Your next task is very simple. Don't let me down. Ben Bly will always stay by your side and listen to your commands. Irina also completely believed that this Lin Fei really wanted to support her, and she had personally experienced Ben Bly's lethality. Now, take me to the treasury of the Church of Light. There are a few things that I need to take with me. Also, help me check where the so-called divine water of life is. Irina had the key to the treasury. The treasury was underground and had an elevator leading to it. It was made of reinforced concrete. Chapter 40-41. In the depths of the ground, there was a treasury. This treasure vault was built with reinforced concrete. Inside and out, it was equipped with high-tech equipment, giving off a refreshing feeling. Irina opened up layer by layer. Finally, a fully modern treasury appeared in front of Lin Fei. The first thing that entered his vision was a huge pile of gold. This gold, no, it should be called pieces of gold bars, were neatly arranged together, sparkling and forming a brilliant color. A branch of the Church of Light is actually so rich. No wonder the Church of Light is the #1 power in the Western world. Wherever Lin Fei's gaze passed, he saw many good things. Irina and Ben Bly followed behind him. Ben Bly grabbed a gold bar and casually squeezed it. A drop of liquid gold dripped down. But in the next second, Lin Fei sent Ben Blake flying with a kick. If you do this again, I'll peel off your skin. This is gold, not dough. Ben Bly climbed up and laughed foolishly. Doesn't it look a bit shiny? Who knew that gold would be so fragile? I was planning to collect it. Irina was speechless. This guy was really all brawn and no brains. But it also caused Irina to inwardly suck in a breath of cold air. This guy was completely fine after a kick. His skin was really thick and his flesh was really thick. Irina could clearly feel that if that kick landed on her body, she would definitely not be able to withstand it. Where the hell did this Bly come from? Since when did the Western world have such an expert? In front of Ben Bly, Irina always felt a sense of danger. The thought of being beaten to death by Ben Bly emerged in her mind at any moment. After sending Ben Bly flying with a kick, Lin Fei didn't look at the gold anymore and went straight to another place. On the left and right sides of the treasury, there were counters. Each counter had a number on it, and the items inside were stored. Lin Fei arrived in front of one of the counters labeled 88 foot. He reached out his hand and casually pulled out the cabinet. Inside the cabinet was a wooden box. After opening it, a key appeared in front of Lin Fei's eyes. Sure enough, this key is in the Church of Light. It seems like Yi Zishuan's information is correct. Unfortunately, this key was obtained by me in the end. With a wave of his hand, Lin Fei kept the key. The key in the wooden box was the divine dragon key. The two keys fell into Lin Fei's hands. Irina didn't dare to go up and take a look. Her vision blurred, and the things in the cabinet disappeared. She also realized that this should be some kind of spatial technique. What kind of background did he have? His subordinates were so powerful that even he himself was unfathomable. Irina felt like she was walking into the mouth of a tiger. Lin Fei walked around the treasury again, but he didn't find anything worth looking at. There were quite a number of demonic artifacts and sacred artifacts among them. However, they were only ordinary magic artifacts. They did not possess much power at all. Instead, Ben Bly took a fancy to some sparkling diamonds. Ben Bly did not inherit anything, but he had a great interest in collecting shiny objects. He stared at Lin Fei with eager eyes. All right. Don't look at me like that. You can take these diamonds. However, it won't be so easy next time. Ben Bly stretched out his hand and immediately grabbed the diamonds, treating them like treasures. How much gold can your Church of Light get? I have a use for this gold. It wasn't easy for him to come across so much gold. It weighed a few tons. Naturally, Lin Fei would not waste it. If we make a request, the headquarters should be able to send 1 or 2 tons over. Anything more than that would be impossible. After all, our Church of Light has a bank that supports us. The gold is actually stored in the Church of Light. All right, send them a message. Tell them that we need gold for a short period of time. Ben Bly and Irina were chased out by Lin Fei. Lin Fei stayed in the treasury. He was preparing to refine the gold and extract the golden hepta. He did some rough calculations. Extracting this gold should be able to refine a set of sword arrays, or in other words, refine flying swords. In the Western world, Lin Fei could sense many powerful auras. Although he was very strong and had a boundless qi-si, he could still condense a qi-si and dantian. However, he was still lacking in external items. Therefore, Lin Fei decided to refine a sword formation. Since he had encountered so much gold, it would be a waste not to extract the golden hepta. Not long after, another batch of gold was sent in. Lin Fei immersed himself in refining. This process took half a month. During this half a month, Lin Fei extracted the golden hepta day and night. He then asked Irina to find an alchemy furnace to refine flying swords. Using an alchemy furnace to refine flying swords was a crude method. At the very least, it could be used to refine flying swords. Xiao. Inside the treasury, a dozen sword shadows were constantly shuttling back and forth. The surface of the impenetrable wall was already covered with sword marks. Lin Fei retrieved the flying swords one by one. 18 to 19 flying swords were golden and shimmering. All of them were refined from golden hepta. Of course, pure golden hepta was impossible. Some ores were added to it, but the quality was very hard. With this sword formation, attacking and defending would be much easier. With my strength, I can control it freely within 10 kilometers. Although it's not as strong as before, it's still powerful. After retrieving the flying swords, they entered his body one by one. Because these flying swords had been blood sacrificed by Lin Fei, they could be stored in his body and constantly nourished with his blood qi, improving the quality of the flying swords. Of course, only Lin Fei could do such a thing. The prerequisite was that he had to have a strong body. Coming out of the treasury, Irina and Ben Bly were already there. Sir, I have found the whereabouts of the sacred water of life you asked me to investigate. Our people from the Radiant Church have found it. Irina said respectfully. She could feel an even more dangerous aura coming from Lin Fei. It could be seen that in these 10 days his master's strength had greatly increased. It was no different from riding a rocket. Where is the sacred water of life? Lin Fei had already obtained the divine dragon key. The only thing he was interested in was the sacred water of life. It was something that could restore an immortal body. Naturally, Lin Fei wanted to go take a look. According to our investigation, the sacred water of life is on an island in the ocean. I also heard that several experts from the Dark Church have already gone there to seize the sacred water of life. Our Radiant Church has also sent people there. I heard that several old antiques are also preparing to seize the sacred water of life. Chapter 42:42. Lin Fei was in the Light Church's branch. He only stayed there for half a month. After knowing the whereabouts of the Spring of Life, he decided to take a look. Because the location of the Spring of Life was on the sea, he needed to go to the sea. Lin Fei left after getting the specific location from Irina. As for Ben Bly, he stayed behind to help Irina. The task given by Lin Fei was very simple. It was to integrate the forces in this area. Anyone who was dissatisfied would be handed over to Ben Bly to deal with. The only thing Irina needed to do was to think about how to improve her status. At present, it was not appropriate to completely break off all pretense of cordiality with the Light Church. It was better to rely on a big tree for shade. Lin Fei left the Light Church's branch and directly returned to England. After returning to England, Lin Fei couldn't sense the aura of Yi Zixuan and the others. He couldn't help but feel somewhat disappointed. He wanted to see what kind of expression Yi Zixuan would have when he returned. Since he couldn't meet Yi Zixuan and the others, she was clearly afraid of being chased. Lin Fei went to a big castle. This big castle belonged to Marquis Mike. Ever since Mike became a Marquis, his influence in the Dark Church had increased by a lot. For example, this castle's grade was also a lot higher. At first, Marquis Mike was worried that he would become a real puppet, but in the blink of an eye, half a month had passed, and that lord seemed to have disappeared into thin air. Marquis Mike almost forgot that he was being controlled. "Mike, you're living a good life. How's the matter I asked you to do?" Mike, who was drunk, had just returned to his study when he heard a faint voice. He immediately sobered up. He saw a young man sitting on his seat. If it wasn't Lin Fei, who else could it be? "Lord, when did you come back? Why didn't you inform me to pick you up?" Mike's voice was trembling. Lin Fei's deterrence made people not dare to look at him. "What are you afraid of? I don't plan on asking you to do anything. You just need to know that I'm helping you behind your back. Whatever mission I give you, you just have to complete it. It's that simple. If you can't even complete this, then there's no point in keeping you alive." Lin Fei's tone was neither light nor heavy, but it was like a knife stabbing into Marquis Mike's heart. Mike nodded repeatedly. I understand. I've already arranged for people to investigate the matter that you've entrusted me with. There's already some general information. I'll bring it to you now." After taking Marquis Mike as his lackey, Lin Fei naturally had to order him around. Thus, he gave them a few missions, one of which was related to the divine water of life. If it was in the past, Marquis Mike wouldn't have any channels to find out, but now that he was one of the higher-ups, some secrets were open to him. Mike brought a document over. This information was all about some missions that Lin Fei had given him, and the majority of them were information gathering. Lin Fei read the information about the divine water of life, which was the same as what he had gotten from Irina. The information about the divine water of life was true. Moreover, it was on an island in the sea. The information was very detailed. What made Lin Fei somewhat surprised was the names of several people listed in the document. "My lord, these people are the higher-ups of our Dark Church. This time, they have gone to look for the divine water of life. Among them are 3 of them." Marquis Mike continued, "These 3 aren't young, and I heard that their lifespan is about to end. Therefore, they are more anxious than anyone else to obtain the divine water of life. It is said that after obtaining the divine water of life, they can obtain a certain amount of lifespan. Our Dark Church has also received the news that Light Church will also send people there. Therefore, this time, these 3 high-level members are here for the divine water of life as well as to deal with the experts of Light Church. When the time comes, if the situation is really bad, it will be hard to avoid dying together with them. Lin Fei smiled. It seems this divine water of life is very attractive. Even your dark church sent 3 of their higher-ups. Marquis Mike said in a low voice, "My lord, I also got the news that several antiques will also go to the island in the sea to fight for the divine water of life. If my lord wants to go, you must be careful. These antiques have unfathomable strength and a lot of trump cards. They are the biggest enemy of the Dark Church and the Light Church this time." Lin Fei asked, "Do you know which antiques are going?" Marquis Mike shook his head. "I don't know for the time being. In any case, I only know that the strength of these antiques is unfathomable. It is said that they have already surpassed the God level. Generally, there are very few things that are worthy of their attention. This time, the divine water of life is an exception." With the information from the Dark Church, Lin Fei confirmed that the divine water of life had indeed appeared. However, the number of people fighting for the divine water of life was very high. The ratio was higher than what Lin Fei had expected. "Mike, you did a very good job this time. Seeing that you did a good job, I'll give you a little reward." Hearing the reward, Mike became excited. "Many thanks for your reward, my lord. I only did some trivial things." Lin Fei raised his hand and sent a stream of energy into Marquis Mike's body. Marquis Mike instantly became excited, as if he had been injected with chicken blood. Feeling that incomparably vigorous energy once again, he was secretly shocked. "My lord, where did I kill an archangel? This archangel's energy is much more vigorous than the last one. It seems I can break through to the Duke level in one go." Lin Fei patted Marquis Mike's back. "What nonsense are you thinking? Hurry up and focus on breaking through. If you waste my reward, I'll be the first to kill you. In any case, keeping you alive is useless." Marquis Mike was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. He no longer dared to let his imagination run wild and promptly began to refine the archangel's energy. An hour later, Marquis Mike broke through the Marquis level and reached the Duke level. His power was still rising. He had reached the limit of the Duke level in one go. He was only one step away from the Grand Duke level. Mike was so excited that his eyes were brimming with tears. He knelt in front of Lin Fei. "My lord, thank you for letting me step into the Duke level. This has been my life's wish." Lin Fei looked at him indifferently. "Your potential really isn't good. With my help, you've reached the limit of the Duke level. You can't even break through to the Grand Duke level. What a waste." Yes, I'm too useless. Chapter 42-43. A huge cruise ship was slowly sailing on the ocean. This was a large tanker built by Hanks Company. Its biggest use was for sightseeing. On this cruise ship, called Ocean Star, there was a unique casino in the world. Because it was a huge cruise ship, anything that could be found on land could be seen on this cruise ship. For example, right now, Lin Fei was standing on the top deck, enjoying the gentle sea breeze. His eyes were slightly narrowed, showing a satisfied expression. People who didn't know would think that Lin Fei was traveling on a cruise ship. In fact, Lin Fei was just borrowing the cruise ship to travel, because the place where the God Water of Life was located was exactly where the cruise ship was going to pass. Therefore, Lin Fei simply slacked off for once. But he had to admit that this Ocean Star built by Hanks Company was quite high class. Whether it was inside or outside, it was exuding a luxurious aura. Lin Fei had already stayed on this Ocean Star for 4 days. There were only 3 days left before the island where the God Water of Life was located. Lin Fei wasn't in a hurry. From Mike's words, he also knew that those experts going to the island were actually very low-key. For example, on this Ocean Star, Lin Fei felt a few tyrannical auras. For the time being, he couldn't distinguish whether they were from the dark church or the light church. If nothing unexpected happened, these guys should be going for the God water of life. Since they were so low-key, it could be imagined that the others were also like this. Interesting. I actually met Yi Zixuan here. I thought she had already returned to China. Lin Fei suddenly opened his eyes, the corners of his mouth slightly raised as he smiled. He already saw a familiar figure. It was that Yi Zixuan. At this moment, Yi Zixuan seemed to have encountered some trouble as she quickly moved on the deck. This ocean star was very big, so Lin Fei didn't find it strange that he met Yi Zixuan here. But now, Yi Zixuan looked a little frightened. Very quickly, Lin Fei saw clearly that behind Yi Zixuan, there were a few black-clothed, burly men currently chasing after her. The auras of these black-robed men were not weak. Lin Fei could smell a dark aura from them. If there was no accident, these people should be the people of Dark Church. Yi Zixuan had indeed run into some trouble. She had escaped from the hands of the Radiant Church, and with great difficulty, she had obtained some information regarding the god's water of life. Since he didn't have the chance to obtain the divine dragon key, he might as well go take a look at the divine water of life. After receiving the news, Yi Zixuan arrived at Ocean Star, this cruise ship, but who would have thought that she would be targeted by a holy son of Dark Church? That saint had a notorious reputation. It could be said that he was extremely vicious and liked to use humans to cultivate. Yi Zixuan's reaction was also very fast. She immediately changed her room. But who would have thought that the saint would chase after her relentlessly? Since he couldn't do it in the open, he decided to do it in the dark. This is really bad. If I had known that the Holy Sun would be here, I wouldn't have come. Yi Zixuan really regretted not returning to the country immediately. How could she have imagined that there would be so many experts on the Ocean Star cruise? If she hadn't seen, she wouldn't have known. But now she was shocked. Now, Yi Zixuan was also at her wit's end. In a moment of inattention, Yi Zixuan bumped into a person's body. "Sorry, I'm very sorry. I didn't do it on purpose," Yi Zixuan said. Immediately, a burst of laughter rang in Yi Zixuan's ears. "Beauty Yi, long time no see. It's really a coincidence that we meet here again." Yi Zixuan raised her head and saw Lin Fei. She had a surprised expression. You are actually fine." Yi Zixuan had always thought that Lin Fei had met with an accident at the Radiant Church's branch. But now, it seemed that she was thinking too much. The other party had a relaxed appearance, as if he was on vacation. How could he look like he was injured? "Lin Fei, quickly leave. There is a saint of Dark Church here. They have a lot of people, and they also don't like our Eastern world's martial artists. If they find out, they will find trouble with you." If only Yi Zixuan was alone, she would have left without saying anything. But now that she had encountered Lin Fei, she more or less had a trace of security. She also didn't want to see Lin Fei being marked by the Dark Church's saint. "Beauty Yi, what saint? We are now on the Ocean Star cruise. Could it be that he really dares to capture us in front of our faces?" Lin Fei said with a smile. Yi Zixuan was really anxious. Could it be that Lin Fei still hates me because of last time's matter? Yi Zixuan thought about it and felt that it was quite reasonable. "Lin Fei, I really didn't lie to you. They are indeed the people of Dark Church's saint. Once we are surrounded by them, we won't be able to leave even if we want to. Moreover, this is the boundless sea, we really can't leave." Yi Zixuan could already see the black-robed man behind them. The distance between them was getting closer and closer. Lin Fei was still very indifferent. "Actually, I am very interested in this Dark Church's saint. After all, not long ago, I had a good chat with the Light Church's branch leader. He was very enthusiastic towards me. As a matter of fact, I stayed there for a period of time before I came out." Yi Zixuan rolled her eyes. She basically didn't believe what Lin Fei had said. Who was that Archbishop Felix? It was clearly stated in the information that he would have a good chat with you. You're really thinking too much. Lin Fei, don't joke around. If we don't leave now, we really won't be able to leave. Yi Zixuan was anxious. Wait a minute, I just recalled a matter. I seem to have some understanding of Dark Church. One of their higher-ups is my friend. Wait until they come. I will help you deal with them. Lin Fei said. Yi Zixuan had never seen a person as bold as Lin Fei. That was the Dark Church's Saint Ah. He was a vicious person. Once she fell into his hands, she would really be unable to escape even if she had wings. In the time it took to say a few words, those black-robed men caught up. Miss Yi Zixuan, our saint really wants to see you. Please don't make things difficult for us. One of the black-robed men said. After the few burly men in black caught up, they immediately split up and blocked the path that Yi Zixuan was about to leave. It could be said that now, Yi Zixuan really couldn't escape. I don't want to see your Dark Church's saint. If you dare to chase me again, I will call for help. That black-robed man calmly said, Miss Yi Zixuan, please don't make things difficult for us. As for this ocean star, there is no harm in telling us that this ocean star has shares of our Dark Church. Even if you call for help, those people won't do anything for you. Yi Zixuan's heart sunk. She fell to the bottom of the valley. This was bad again. Are you guys that arrogant? Lin Fei smiled. Take this. Let's see if it can give you a deep memory. Lin Fei casually tossed out an item. Bookseller's house. Chapter 42-44. Once this thing was thrown out, these several black-robed men subconsciously caught it and looked at it. They were so scared that they broke out in cold sweat, as if this thing in their hands was a hot thing. But this person is a saint. He personally asked for it. Lin Fei coldly shouted. It has nothing to do with me. If he wants it, then let him come in person. You don't have the qualifications to take him away. Yi Zixuan was also curious. She didn't see what it was, but the expression of these several black-robed men changed. Could it be that Lin Fei has a connection with the people of Dark Church? But Yi Zixuan knew that the Western world had never liked the people of the Eastern world, especially top forces like Dark Church and Light Church. They were quite averse to outsiders. After being shouted at by Lin Fei, how could those black-robed men dare to say anything? He respectfully returned the items to her. Sorry to disturb you. After saying that, the few big men retreated and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Lin Fei waved his hand and put away this thing. You see, I already said that I know the people of Dark Church. In front of me, they won't dare to take people. Even if a saint comes, it will be the same. You can rest assured. Lin Fei said. Yi Zixuan was even more puzzled about Lin Fei's origin, because from the information obtained from the investigation, this Lin Fei's body was filled with a mysterious aura which hadn't been completely solved until now. Thank you. If not for you, I really wouldn't know how to solve this matter. It's all the fault of that saint of Dark Church. Of all people, he took a fancy to me. With one look, I know that guy definitely doesn't have any good intentions. Yi Zixuan despised. Where are those people? Lin Fei looked at the distant sea and asked with a smile. Yi Zixuan shook her head. I got separated from them. I don't know where they went. Could it be that you want to go to the place where the god water of life is? If you can go on the Ocean Stars cruise, then I can too. Lin Fei didn't directly explain. When Yi Zixuan heard this, she knew what Lin Fei meant. He was definitely after the divine water of life. I don't have any hope for the divine water of life now. Since the Holy Son of the Dark Church is here, there might be some other old-timers here as well. It can be said that powerhouses are as common as clouds. A little guy like me doesn't have any meaning in going. Yi Zixuan laughed bitterly. I was thinking too much. Lin Fei could see that Yi Zixuan should have suffered a bit in the Radiant Church's branch, so she had a good memory. Otherwise, she wouldn't have said such words. That's not a bad idea. The divine water of life isn't a place you should be going to. I think you should take advantage of this opportunity to enjoy the scenery along the way. Don't get involved in this kind of thing anymore, Lin Fei suggested. Then why are you going to the place with the divine water of life? Aren't you afraid of being targeted by them? For a moment, Yi Zixuan couldn't see through Lin Fei. Since he knew it was dangerous, why did he still want to go there? Lin Fei smiled and said, "In fact, I'm going to the island to join in the fun, nothing more. I'm better at protecting my life than you. Moreover, I have a lot of friends. When the time comes, I'll just watch the fun. I won't worry about anything." Hearing Lin Fei's words, Yi Zixuan was also moved. "Young Master Lin, how about you take me with you to the island? I'll be the same as you. I'll just watch the fun. I absolutely won't dare to do anything." Originally, Yi Zixuan had already given up on the idea of going to the island, but after hearing Lin Fei's words, she had another idea. Since she couldn't get the divine water of life, could it be that she couldn't go and watch the fun? I heard that there are a lot of experts there. If I miss this opportunity, I don't know when I'll be able to see so many experts. Yi Zixuan impatiently watched. This scene was completely different from that time in Splendid Villa. In an instant, Lin Fei had a wrong feeling. Did he recognize the wrong person? Was this person really the Yi Zixuan? Right now, it was clearly two people. One was strong, one was weak. If Lin Fei didn't know that Yi Zixuan was Yi Zixuan, he would really think that she had a younger sister. Lin Fei also didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "It's better for you to stay on the Ocean's Star Cruise. This place is safe." Yi Zixuan shook her head, who said it's safe? "The Ocean Star Cruise has shares of the Dark Church, and now a saint has appeared. If I stay on the Ocean Star Cruise, I might become a meat on the chopping board. I think it's better for me to follow you." Could it be that young Master Lin can't even agree to such a small request? Lin Fei wished he could give himself a slap. Of all the things he could have said, just now he just had to say this. All right, now he had to bring along a burden. Yi Zixuan's strength seemed to be pretty good, but in Lin Fei's eyes her strength was really not that great. To say that she was a burden was not an exaggeration at all. "What do you say? Bring me along and let me gain some knowledge. At worst, when you go to Kunlun's secret domain in the future, I will be your guide. How about it?" If Lin Fei hadn't entered Kunlun's secret domain from Southeast Asia before, he might really be interested. But now he wasn't that interested in Kunlun's secret domain. "It's not impossible to bring you along, but you have to listen to me. You have to do whatever I tell you to do. If you don't listen to me, then don't think about coming down from the secret domain alive." Lin Fei lightly snorted. "You have to remember this point clearly. I'm not joking, I'm telling you seriously." Yi Zixuan heavily nodded her head. "I understand. If you bring me to the island, I will listen to everything you say. I will cook. I guarantee that we won't starve to death after going to the island." Actually, these days, Yi Zixuan had indeed been somewhat panicking. She didn't know why, but after seeing Lin Fei, her mood suddenly calmed down. Originally, she planned to have a life and death struggle with the Saint of Dark Church. So now, she hoped to be together with Lin Fei. At least, she wouldn't have to face danger. Although it could be said that she had some small calculations, in Yi Zixuan's opinion, this was also very normal. And at the same time, on the other side, the saint looked at the few black-clothed men standing in a row and coldly snorted. "You guys are quite capable. So many people, yet you can't even catch a woman. What use do I have for you guys?" The golden-haired man slapped the armrest with his palm. With a "kacha" sound, cracks appeared on the armrest as if it would shatter in the next second. The golden-haired man was one of the saints of Dark Church. His name was Kuchio. "Saint, we also have no other way. But that person is holding the Duke's token. We don't dare." Bookseller's website.